Chat. Chat. What is up, chat? What's up? What's up, Industrico? What's up? P. Is that P. Fletch? P. Fletch, maybe? P.F. Fletch? Maybe, probably more inclined to say P.F. Fletch, you know? P.F. Fletch. What's up, everyone? How's it going? I'm here. I showed up. Finally doing a stream before I have to work today. Don't worry. I'm here. We're talking about Bernie Sanders today. He did a Mayday protest speech, some fucking retarded shit. The fact that he's still even alive is an act of God. For some reason, the wretched get blessed in this world. I don't know why. Maybe we are in purgatory, guys. My Cash App is in the description. I could also put the dono on screen, but we'll see about that. I guess we got about a 22-minute video. On Bernie. So we will see. And we'll try to get through that. Also, sorry about my phone there. Also, I have a Streamlabs open. And audio should come through the Streamlabs. So if you want to jump up in the chat, if you want to talk and all of that, then, I can add you to that StreamYards. You know what I mean? Add you to that StreamYards. So it is an open panel, but it just ran a little differently. You're not really going to see yourself on the open panel. You're more going to see me and a video. Now, if there's a lot of people and all we have is a panel, then I'll add the Streamlabs with the StreamYard in it. So then it will basically act like a normal panel. But this time I'm going to run these streams now. I like this a lot better. I like the way it feels. Streamlabs feels better, especially for reaction content. You know what I mean? This looks a lot more sleek. It looks better. I don't really like reaction. I don't really like doing like the, going through videos and reaction content with StreamYards because it's kind of like, I don't know, it looks janky. Looks bad. I don't enjoy it very much, to be honest with you. Do not enjoy it very much. Don't forget to like the stream. Don't forget to share the stream. I have this posted in several Discords, but hit it up, share the stream. I got money that I need, and I got bills I need, okay? So, I'm pretty sure, yep, no, not that one, this one. Let's see if we can transition this pretty good. Yeah, we can here. Let's see. See, you can't do this shit in StreamYards. You know what I mean? You can't do this shit in StreamYards. There we go. Look at that. Sleek. Okay.
So much. So, I'm proud to introduce someone who always fights for the workers, someone who understands solidarity.
Does he, though? See, we're already off to a great start. Does he really fight for the workers, though? Is he really fighting for the working class from his third mansion? I mean, we're off to a great start already. This is wonderful. Love it.
Solidarity. We are proud to stand in solidarity with Bernie. Everyone, please, help me welcome Senator Bernie Sanders.
That's not Senator Sanders. That's Senator Sanders. Oh yeah, he's old. He's old as dirt. Look at him. He's old as dirt. P. Fletch says, Bernie fighting so hard for that 50th house in Aspen. I absolutely agree. He needs that 50th house, okay? You know what socialism is? Bernie getting that 50th house, bro. That's what socialism is.
Thank you, Philadelphia! Let me thank all of you for coming out this afternoon Let me thank Danny Bowder and the Philadelphia AFL-CIO.
I don't care, bro.
And let me thank all those who have spoken and will be speaking in a few moments. Brothers and
Can we just mention, hold on. Can we just mention, for the people, not the billionaires, Bernie is a billionaire. Oh my god. Bro, I can't. Bernie is a billionaire. Bernie is a billionaire. Why are we playing this game right now? That's crazy.
will be speaking in a few moments. Brothers and sisters, what we are celebrating today in Mayday is, in a sense, a sacred holiday. And all over our country, workers are coming out demanding justice, and all over the world, in dozens of countries, workers are standing up to oligarchy and demanding a world in which all people have a decent standard of living.
I just can't take this serious. I just can't take Bernie serious, man. I'll get into that later. I have a few other stuff of what Bernie said in the past, but
Today, we remember the struggles.
see, that sounds like impeach, convict, remove. Yeah.
And the sacrifices of workers for hundreds of years who have stood up to powerful special interests to create a better world. And today we thank our brothers and sisters in the trade union movement for continuing that struggle.
Sure, bro. Sure.
Mayday, as you know, was established way back in 1886. And
What do you
workers
think they
then
thought
stood
about
up to
workers
their
back
very
then, Bernie?
powerful bosses and said, you know what, we don't want to be slaves. We don't want to work 60, 70 hours a week. We want an 8-hour day. And throughout our history, workers stood up and they said, you know what, children should not be working in factories or in the fields. They should be in good schools. And throughout
By the way, if you jump up in the StreamYard, right, I am going to wait to open up the StreamYard until after this video. So, you know, just keep that in mind. So if you're in the back in the StreamYards, I'm not going to be able to, like, see your back there right now. So just keep that in mind. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not purposely not bringing you up. That's just the way it is, all right? Oh, look at this fucking guy, dude.
Throughout the years, workers said, we don't want our brothers and sisters dying in factories. We want safe working conditions. And
This is
workers
true.
in the trade union said that when people work more than 40 hours a week, as so many millions in our country do, they deserve and must have time and a half.
Yeah, but you didn't fight for those things, Bernie. Bernie in 2042, no one should be a quadrillionaire. That's so true. I stand by that. No one should be a quadrillionaire, guys.
And as a
Millionaire and billionaire is alright. No one should be a quadrillionaire, right?
result of the struggles of the trade union movement, we have come a long way, not quite far enough, to end discrimination so that all people have an opportunity for a decent job, no matter what the color of their skin, where they were born, or their sexual orientation.
Yeah, I'm sure the workers in 1860 really were fighting for that. I'm sure that's what they were fighting for. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure the workers in 1860 in Kansas they really cared about what color skin. They didn't care about what color skin workers were. Absolutely, yeah, 100% sure. retarded.
And when we think about history, I want you all to remember the fact that we have a social security system today which guarantees benefits to our older people and disabled did not happen by accident. The trade union movement made it happen.
Bro cannot say we are fighting for workers' rights across all racial biases and then say, when we look at history. Yeah, let's look at history, bro.
And the fact that senior citizens today through Medicare can get the health care they need did not happen by accident. Trade union workers made it happen.
So we're appealing to boomers because I don't give a shit. I do not give a single shit about that. Okay. By the time that I can retire, I'm gonna be like 85 if the current trends continue right now. I'll be 85 by the time I can retire, and you're gonna preach to me about Social Security? I don't care about boomers. I don't care about them getting healthcare. That's awesome, man. They're gonna get to benefit from it. I'm not going to be able to, because I'm going to have to work until I'm like 85 to 90 if current trends continue. So I don't care about Social Security, Bernie. I do not care. I 1000% do not care. This is the problem with socialists. Bro thinks he's finna retire. Exactly. Listen, man. Listen. I'm in a good job. My job right now, if I stay in this job, is age 50 for retirement. That goes up every year, right? And I'm in a good position for a retirement. But that's gonna go up. Yeah. Industrial says, I'm just gonna die at work. That's what we're all gonna do, bro. We're gonna be 85 to 90, and we're just gonna keel over one day and die at work. And I'm like, oh, there goes Tom. Tom finally croaked, and then we're gonna have a funeral at work, bro. That's what's gonna happen. Like, of all of these socialists that say that we fought, it really just seems like mega corporations got out of it fine, bro. Because they're gonna be able to work us to death. They're gonna be able to pay us below a wage, and we're gonna have to rent as well. We're not gonna be able to buy a home. This is just a moot point, man. This is just a moot point. Socialist left is not winning. They're not winning. This is ridiculous. I can't wait to keel over at work when I'm 95.
And today, the fact that millions of lower income people and elderly people in nursing homes get supported by Medicaid did not happen by accident. The trade union movement made it happen.
If you don't work, you don't eat. I don't care. When did working class turn into supporting people that choose not to work? I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. Like, obviously, there are people that can't work. I 100% understand that, right? But when will we just realize that a lot of people are just leeches on the society and the working class and the middle class? They're just leeches. They're fucking leeches, okay? They choose not to work when they obviously could, and then they reap the benefits of the middle class and working class. When did being pro-working class mean that you're pro-poverty? When did this happen? Fletch says, but you'll own nothing and love it. Yeah, sure, buddy. I hate socialism! I hate American socialism.
Movement, this country has come a long way over the last 150 years. But let me
long way in the wrong direction.
Tell you something that you're not going to see in corporate media, and something that you're not going to hear much about on the halls of Congress. And that is that while we have accomplished much we still have an enormously important road forward if we're going to create an economy that works for all of us, not just a few. So let us be clear and lay it out on the table. In the year
I'm ready to hear it.
2025
I'm ready to hear
in
it.
America, we are now living in an oligarchic form of society.
Yeah, no shit. And you're a part of the oligarchy. The oligarchic shill is telling the people that we are in an oligarchy. No shit, bro. No fucking shit. Yeah. And you in your fifth house, right? You are a part of the oligarchy. You sold out your values to be a part of the oligarchy. Why is it? Why do people take him serious?
Never before in our history have so few had so much wealth while so many Americans are struggling.
Yeah. Bernie, I'm working to create an economy that continues to work for me and by extension the CEOs of BlackRock. Exactly. Holocratic. Exactly. It's ridiculous. This is a ridiculous
Never
thing.
before
This is
have so few had so much political power. While millions of Americans no longer vote, millions of others have given up on democracy because they look at government and they say, government is owned by billionaires. You are not representing us.
No, they give up on democracy because democracy isn't working. Wherever there is a liberal democracy, it's like it's a rotting corpse. And I'm not afraid to fucking say that. Wherever there's a liberal democracy, it doesn't work. Because, yes, mega corporations just buy out politicians. But wherever you have liberalism, you have economic liberalism. Bernie. And I get it. You advocate for socialism and all of that, but you don't go far. You don't go far enough, and you never will because you're a toe-the-line oligarch. It's true. Toe-the-line oligarch.
You know, a few years ago, when I talked about oligarchy, people were saying, oh, what is Bernie talking about? Well, Donald Trump has made it very clear what we are talking about when we talk about oligarchy. Oligarchy is a president who, when he gets inaugurated, he doesn't hide it. Right behind him are the three wealthiest people in America, Musk, Bezos, and Zuckerberg.
Bifu says, imagine my shock that a nation that is non-homogenous can't work as a democratic society. Even homogenous nations don't work as a democratic society because they corrupt and they become non-homogenous. Like, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of liberalism. The whole point of liberalism is to make it as not homogenous and as open borders as possible. Okay? This is why, this is like the horseshoe theory is kind of correct, where it's like, oh, if you're, you know, right, for instance, if you're like a libertarian type with right-wing values, you take it to its logical conclusion, you're pro-open borders, bro. And we'll get in that later. But you're pro-open borders, bro. Because why would you want borders to limit your economic growth? Because capitalism is just growth. It's growth for the growth's sake. That is capitalism. So yeah. I mean, we'll get into that too. And if you're lib left, right? If you're liberal left, you're for open borders for mere moral reason, that you think that you have some moral superiority and you think that these people are not different at all. The only place that you really get, like, you know, limited immigration is in the authoritarian spectrum. And even then, some communists are okay with immigration, which is
And right behind...
And this point that Trump made an oligarchy is mute, because every single political person has created an oligarchy. Bernie would have created an oligarchy. Everyone creates an oligarchy.
Behind them are 13 other billionaires who he has appointed to head major government agencies. I think all of us remember that when Abraham Lincoln was in Gettysburg, right here in Pennsylvania, and he looked out at a battlefield where a few days before 20,000 Union soldiers had died or been wounded. And he looked out and he said, our vision for the future of America is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Well, what everyone knows is that today we have a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class, and we...
I can't wait for his children and grandchildren to benefit from his generational wealth when he dies. I can't wait to see that. Fletch says, I am in 100% about protecting our extreme southern border, you know, where modern day Mexico ends and South America begins. Stop it. I'm still crisscrossed on that one. Not gonna lie, I'm still crisscrossed on that one. I don't know if I really want that or not. I'm still like hit or miss with that. It would be a smaller border and we would be able to secure it easier, but then again, we'd have to, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Will not allow that to continue. And let me be very clear. These oligarchs, these billionaires are not nice people. They are incredibly greedy people.
Hey, the pot calling the kettle black, bro. I'm still waiting for Desert Storm 3 Baja Blast Edition.
You might think
Holy
that somebody
fuck.
who has 10 or 20 billion dollars might be content, might think that's enough. Not these guys. They want it all. And they are prepared to destroy Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, nutrition programs in order to get more tax breaks for themselves. So today, brothers and sisters, we tell the...
Holy shit, was there one black guy in that entire crowd? That's crazy. Man, maybe white liberals are a problem.
These greedy
Holy
oligarchs.
fuck.
This country belongs to all of us, not the billionaire class.
Yeah, but creating more trade unions isn't gonna do that, Bernie. You're not gonna get that from that, Bernie. And you've already capitulated on your point about open borders, so mute. Like, you're not for the people. You're for your own constituents. Like, we've already been over this time and time again. But every time this old fuck comes up on stage, I'm going to react to it, okay? Right? Because as someone that claims to be a socialist, Bernie Sanders, you are not one. You are not one.
And let me tell you what is else that is going on in our country today. Today, in the richest country in the history of the world, 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck.
It's 68% of people are living paycheck to paycheck, but...
I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. Many of you are living paycheck to paycheck. millions of people should not and will not live paycheck to paycheck in the richest country in the history of the world. Today in America, one man, Elon Musk, owns more wealth than the bottom 52% of American.
See, here's the thing, right? And this is just party politics once again, and Bernie always does this. Like, how many times does the Democratic Party have to kick you in your ass every single time before you stop playing these party politics? You don't mention BlackRock, you don't mention Vanguard, you don't mention all of these megacorps, you don't mention Jeff Bezos, you don't mention any of this, but you mention Elon Musk because Elon Musk sided with Donald Trump, right? Fuck!
Households. Today in America, working class people live 7 years shorter lives than the rich.
Let me just check StreamYards real fast and make sure no one's back there. Let me just check StreamYards real fast and make sure no one's back there. Hold on. Alright, we're good. We good. Yeah, we golden. We golden. You're supposed to notice Bernie's magical. Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Today in America, the top 1% now owns more wealth than the bottom 93%. And CEOs make 300.
And you're one of the 90, and you're one of the 1%.
150 times more than the average worker. And here is something that we don't talk about enough, and it tells us why the American people are furious. Today, the average worker in America, despite a huge explosion in technology and worker productivity, that average worker is earning less money per week in inflation accounted for dollars than he or she did 52 years ago.
Yeah, but you toe the line for the party that fucking did that. You toe the line for the Democratic Party that fucking did that. Right? That just had this liberal idea of just keep printing money. Or no, we should absolutely let the Federal Reserve, a completely private organization, print our money. Yeah, with the CEO and all that. Yeah, you toe the line for that party, bro. I don't care. I don't care what you say about this. All of your gripes, you toe the line for the party that did that. You toe the line for the liberal party that believes on core values about the liberal economy. I mean, both parties do. Don't get me wrong. But Democrats do it as well. You toe the line for that party.
So it's not hard to understand what's happened. Over the last 50 years, the very richest people in this country have become much richer, while 800,000 people today sleep out on the street and the average worker struggles.
How about you start giving some people some rooms, Bernie? I'm sure you have some extra rooms in your 5th house. I'm sure you have some extra rooms that you could rent out. Not even rent out, just give for free, right? Just give for free to some of these homeless people. You could be doing an actual service with your homes. You could be doing that, Bernie. But no, I don't want them in there. No, right? Yeah.
So let me tell you something. I have gone all over this country, as some of you may know.
He goes all over the country when he travels from house to house. I'm sorry, it's too easy. I'm sorry.
And what I am proud to tell you is the American people by the millions are saying no to oligarchy, no to Trump's authoritarianism, no to Trump's kleptocracy.
Actually, sadly, they're saying the opposite. If you look at the polls, they're saying the opposite. They're saying, especially in rural areas, they're saying the opposite of that. They're actually pretty much in supportive of it. And on large, most people, especially rural people, are okay with authoritarianism. I'm sorry. It's true. You can live in this fantasy land where you think that people just, are pro-democracy and pro-liberal values, but you're living in a fantasy land. I'm sure in your, sectioned off housing developments with a nice HOA that are all liberals, I'm sure that they agree with you, Bernie, but the majority of actual working class Americans don't agree with you, and they could give a shit less, because your view or your socialist movement on large have failed the American people.
And no to tax breaks for billionaires.
Fletch says, I voted for Trump to kick out illegal aliens. So true. So true. Because they're the actual crux of socialism. Oh, absolutely they are. Yeah. Mega corporations, international corporations love immigration. And we know that as a fact. Because it's cheap labor. It's the same. Oh, you mentioned Abraham Lincoln, right? Oligarchs back then loved slavery. You know why? Because it was free and cheap labor.
And I'm here in Pennsylvania to tell any member of the Pennsylvania delegation that if they vote for tax breaks for
champagne socialism, so true. Armchair socialism, so true. But keep preaching, Bernie. You'll be fine. Maybe you'll get there when you're 95.
billionaires and cut Medicaid, nutrition, and education, we are going to throw them out of their jobs. But brothers and sisters, our job right now, in my view, is twofold. First, we have got to fight Trump every single day. But secondly, we need to have
Yes, that's true, Fletch. Don't forget all the Irish fresh off the boats that Lincoln pressed into the giraffe for Union forces. Abso-fucking-lutely he did.
a vision as to where our country goes in the future. And here is the bottom line, and I say that to my Democratic colleagues.
Yeah, you notice that? Like how they have a crap ton of stuff that's in Spanish? And listen, Bernie knows immigration merely benefits corporate elites. He said it! And I'll play the clip where he says it after this. He has stated this several fucking times, but he always goes back on it because it doesn't work in his worldview. The worldview that he's created, he completely disconnects immigration from the economy, which is so retarded. He has to do it on purpose. There's no way that someone like Bernie Sanders doesn't know that. It has to be on purpose.
In the Congress, stop defending the status quo economically.
You defend the status quo economically.
An economy in which the rich get richer and working people struggle should not be defended.
That's right, Bernie. So why aren't you anti-immigration?
So there are a number of things that we have got to keep our eyes on and understand. Please, you are living in the richest country in the history of the world. It is not a radical idea. It is not utopian to say that every man, woman, and child can and should have a decent standard of living. And at the top of the list of what we have got to do is to end a corrupt campaign.
See that socialism beats fascism sign? You know how many people I've seen in person with that sign? They can't even describe to me what fascism or socialism is. They have no idea what those two things mean. They are just given a sign, right? They sign up for a nonprofit and they're given that sign. They're told to walk around. They have no idea what that sign means. Sorry. But yeah, I've seen those people in IRL. I've been out in the streets. Have you guys seen live streams of this? God, I wish I was at Mayday for this, man. Wish I was in Philadelphia.
Campaign finance system. A system that allows billionaires in both political parties to control the political process and our economy.
You still support them, though.
Brothers and sisters,
You still support them, though.
democracy is about one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. And if we're going to deal with the massive income and wealth inequality that currently exists, we're going to not give the rich tax breaks. We're going to demand that the billionaires and their corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. And if we're going to build the movement that we need to take power in this country, we need to grow the trade union movement in this country.
That's not gonna work. Trade unions, you can't just build more trade unions and be like, yeah, it's gonna solve the problem. It's gonna solve the problem, guys. We're gonna build more trade unions, guys. Guys, you know what I think that is gonna bring socialism to America? More trade unions. I think that's what's gonna do it. Yeah. Retard.
Right now, there are millions of workers who want to join unions. They're unable to do so because of the illegal behavior of corporations. And that's why we're going to pass the PRO Act. And if workers, a majority of workers sign a union.
I'm sorry, what was that?
And that's why we're going to pass the PRO Act. Able to do so because of the illegal behavior of corporations.
Okay.
And that's why we're going to pass the PRO Act. And if workers, a majority of workers sign a union card, they're going to belong to a union. Brothers and sisters, we need to raise the minimum wage in this country to a living wage. No worker working 40 hours a week should live in poverty. And brothers and sisters, if we're going to compete in the global economy, we need the best educated workforce in the world.
Oh, here comes the DOE stuff.
And that is making not only our public colleges and universities tuition free.
Okay. Was not what I
It
expected.
means paying our teachers a wage that they deserve. There is no reason why we should not be having the best public education in the world and the best child care system in the world. Now, our Republican colleagues, or some of them, want to cut Social Security. 22%, if you can believe this, of seniors in this country are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less. Can't afford to heat their homes, pay for their prescription drugs. We're not going to cut Social Security. Brother,
I don't care about boomers. I don't care. Of course the fucking 95-year-old would be advocating for boomers, bro. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. You thought me old faces were in there? They were all boomers.
brothers and sisters, together, we're going to expand Social Security benefits.
And that would make it so you wouldn't have a vote for me, bro. Expand it? We're going to expand Social Security?
By lifting
Tyler, what's up, Tyler J. Woodby? How's it going, buddy? LOL, he's still alive. That is the exact same thing I said when I heard he was doing this, but hey, I like it more or less. No, I mean, sure, there's some things in here that are good, right? But it's just dragged down by the fact that it's Bernie fucking Sanders saying this. The fact that it's just boomer socialism. The fact that, like, they have no idea. I don't like Social Security. I don't know. I don't like Social Security. Because I'm not going to benefit from it. I'm paying into it, and I'm not going to benefit from it. There's no way for me to benefit from it at the current standards. Unless we completely change the economic system, I will not benefit from Social Security. So, like, I'm paying something that I'm not going to benefit from. That's the thing. So if we expand it now, right, with how the current economy is, that's just going to make boomers more rich before they die. And I will not benefit from it.
The cap on taxable income. And let me tell you something else. I am old enough to remember something called a defined benefit pension plan. You know what that is? I know it's a radical idea to the younger people. Once upon a time, when workers worked at a decent job, when they retired, they had a strong, defined pension plan. We've got to bring that back. People who work their whole lives should be able to retire with dignity. Brothers and sisters, we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all as a human right.
I agree with healthcare for all, but human rights don't exist. I need to figure out how to stop paying taxes. Good luck with that one, buddy. I'm not helping you with that on live.
85 million are uninsured or underinsured, and we spend twice as much per capita on health care as the people of any other major country. The function of health care is not to make insurance companies and drug companies rich. It's to provide health care to all. Together, we're going to pass Medicare for all, single-payer program. Donald Trump may think that climate change is a hoax. You and I know that it is an existential threat. We can create millions of good-paying union jobs.
What's up, Random Independent? How's it going, buddy? How is it going? I'm just chilling. We're almost to the end of this. Like I said, that panel link's pinned to the top. I can't see you if you're back in the back chat, so... But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of an open panel for a little bit. You know, I do got to work tonight, though. So, there's that. We're watching some Champagne Socialists, buddy.
By transforming our energy system into energy efficiency and sustainable energy.
Sure, sustainable energy, absolutely. Like nuclear, maybe?
And brothers and sisters, instead of spending $1 trillion a year on the military, instead of giving billions of dollars to Netanyahu and his horrific war against the people of Gaza, we can cut military spending and build 5 million units of low-income and affordable housing. Now, I'm not going to tell you that the struggle in front of us is easy. The oligarchs own the economy, they own the media, they own the political process. That's a reality. And I may not have a PhD in mathematics, but there's one thing I do understand. That if we do not allow Trump and his friends to divide us up by the color of our skin or where we were born, or our sexual orientation, if we stand together around the progressive agenda, if we start electing candidates who work for us and not the billionaire
Drop the bombs.
class,
Affordable housing brought to you by BlackRock. Thank you. Drop the nukes. I'm done. I'm done.
If we think big and not small, brothers and sisters, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Let's go out, let's do it, let's transform the country. Thank you all very much.
I hate the left so much, bro. The billionaire comes out on stage and tells you how billionaires are bad. And then the impoverished people chant his name. Fuck. Okay. Alrighty. Got it just chatting here. Let me see what's going on. No one in the back chat. That's good. We got this video as well. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, no, we got way more than what the Streamlabs says. What's up, everyone? How's it going? How's it going? Let's go over here. Little 3-minute clip. Boom, bada beam. Here we go. And it's Vox. So sorry.
Something that is in what you said about being a democratic socialist is a more international view. But I think if you take global poverty that seriously, it leads you to conclusions that in the US are considered out of political bounds. Things like sharply raising the level of immigration we permit, even up to a level of open borders, about sharply increasing
open borders.
Foreign aid.
Open borders. That's a Koch brothers proposal. The
Really?
idea, of course. I mean, that's a right-wing proposal, which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of
me.
the global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state. And I don't think there's any country in the world which believes in that. If you believe in a nation state, or in a country called the United States, or UK, or Denmark, or any other country, you have an obligation, in my view, to do everything.
Streamlabs link doesn't work. I'll change that right now. I'm sorry, guys. One second. Streamlabs link doesn't work. I will change that right now. 1 second. This Streamlabs should work now. Check if it does. Did it work? Does it work? Yeah, Panfoots is back there. What's up, man? How's it going? How's it going?
What's up?
Just talk real fast again, make sure that's working.
Yeah, no, it's just it's going good. It's just
Okay.
on the thing it says not a real live stream.
Yeah, it's not a real live stream, yeah. So I'm live streaming through Streamlabs, I'm not live streaming through StreamYard. So this is just kind of like a open panel thing. Like you're not shown on screen right now, so you're good.
Gotcha.
You are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, jawohl.
Yeah. So what is poppin'? What's happening?
Fucking, well, for one, I'm sick today.
Ah,
I
you're sick.
called out of work. Yeah, I called out of work, dude. Every time it turns in the summer, it always gets sick. But fucking Bernie Sanders is the biggest fucking schmuck known to man.
I love him, bro. Don't you love Bernie
Motherfucker
Sanders?
has 5 goddamn mansions in Vermont.
5 mansions in Vermont. Yeah.
Five.
Do you think that he, do you think that he, gives any of those rooms to the Vermont homeless?
Fuck no.
No?
He probably lives in a gated Jewish community because he's also Jewish. People forget about that.
Let's watch that. Let's watch. Not that you can't say that, but let's just use a different word, okay?
I love Israel.
Yeah, let's just use a different word, all right?
He lives in a gated, um, funny people,
Smurf.
Hollywood actor,
Just say Smurf. You're good.
Smurf community with Papa Smurf down the road, and and so no, he's not sharing that shit with homeless people. The guy literally will grift on any fucking topic if it just gives him an opportunity to get like an
Right.
extra 5 votes. Because even though RFK dropped out of the race, RFK got more votes than Bernie Sanders.
That's true. That's true. My cat's decided to be a dickhead. One
Yeah.
second, keep going.
But it's going into that, it's just like the billionaire class. I'm like, you are a part of the fucking billionaire class. And that's why I said champagne socialism, because it's a bunch of useful idiots who rally behind something that sounds good. And
That's
the
true.
thing is, it's like, even in his speech, it's like, these oligarchs, they're not good people. And I'm like, why are they not good people? Can you explain more? They are greedy. And it's like trying to like teach a 4-year-old kid how to not be around P. Diddy.
Shut up. Okay, but no, seriously though, he has 5 mansions. These greedy people are so evil because they're greedy and they're rich. But you have 5 mansions. Like I do, can you? I just can't wait until he dies and you see all like the generational wealth that he gives to his like kids and his grandkids. Bro, it's gonna be
Oh,
crazy.
there's a trust fund.
Oh,
There's a
absolutely.
trust
There's a
fund.
trust fund.
This guy's been doing it since the early '60s.
Yeah,
And he's just been doing the exact same thing. He keeps cucking on his points. He just moves over to whatever seems relevant at the time. And it was funny you played that little clip at towards the end where he was talking about immigration and how it's bad for the
yeah,
economy. But then you look at his speech right now, how much of that shit was in a foreign language?
yes, yes. They were translating it in
Yeah,
Spanish, dude.
yeah.
Yes,
On the
yes.
sign it said, if you want to listen to this in Spanish, press the numbers. And those people with the cards in front of their face, those were the translators.
Yeah,
They're having a microphone on their thing that way you can listen in on your phone. But it's which is ironic because as a man who said that he wasn't supportive of immigration, he seems that he's really going hard on the quote unquote working class, which I guess to him is foreign, non-English speaking, non-Americans. You know,
yeah. It's
even though statistically the majority of the working class are white men.
yep. Yeah, you think those people that were fighting for 8-hour workdays in the 1860s? You think they were like a bunch of like black people or Hispanics?
Some of them are Irish. That's pretty close. But
We're not doing that today. We're not doing that
okay,
today.
damn. But it's yeah, no, it's like in the whole thing where he talks about Abraham Lincoln. I'm like, oh good God, here we go. It's like he loved slaves, forgetting that Abraham Lincoln also wanted to send them back. He
Yep.
wanted to deport black
Yep.
people
Yep.
because he didn't like slavery because it fucked over everyone else.
That's why
Like,
Liberia exists to this day.
and Bernie was right about his, well, I don't, you said that, right? That the oligarchs love slavery. That's the reason the state of New York almost joined the Confederacy because it relied on the Southern's cotton so much for its textile mills that the
Yeah.
entire state almost went bankrupt
Yeah. Oh, they love slavery. Yeah, they do. Hence why they
because
like
it's
mass
cheap
immigration.
fucking labor.
Because it's
It's cheap
cheap
labor.
labor.
I love the Democrat point of like, well, who's gonna work all the fields when the illegals are gone? I don't know, fucking legal Americans, right? Because we have already a force that does that. And the thing is they're like, well, you're just wanting to deport him. Oh, excuse me. I almost just threw up.
You
Excuse me.
just want to
Shit.
deport them because they're brown.
But what?
I could care less, to be honest with you.
But no, it's like I remember seeing this. Like I went online and seeing this photo of like an empty grocery store, and in the back was a door, and you had to go out into a field and pick it yourself. Sorry, we don't have groceries. You deported all the workers.
Oh my
Like for
god.
one, we have an American workforce that can easily do that for the right amount of money. But the reason why most Americans never went, like a lot of them, people didn't go in there, is for multiple reasons. One, it doesn't pay worth a shit.
Yeah.
Farming is horrible. Like I did it for a while. It's and not only are the farmers basically on paper they seem rich, but in reality they're very poor unless they're like Monsanto or something. But also, like I baled hay and broke down pigs for like a couple of years, getting paid $10 under the table when I was like 13.
Yeah.
And back then that was great, but no American today can live off of $10 an hour. But so there's that reason. And then also because the same people who are complaining about us deporting all the workers are the same people who say, oh, you want to go into a trade job? What are you, a redneck? Are you scum? So they make it seem like these manual labor jobs are this like you're white trash, scummy to go into these things, which is not even the truth at all.
It's not the truth at all.
It's low IQ jobs, and the thing is that like yes, it doesn't. Certain part of these jobs do not take a lot of mental understanding to do, but at a certain point, it's still a job. And a lot of blue collar jobs nowadays are paying really good wages because they need more people into the workforce.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you have all these illegals and people who don't have papers, or people who are willing to work for nothing on a dollar, it becomes somewhat like slavery because they're getting paid less than a normal American, for one. And so it generates this, well, why do I want to hire Americans in the first place when I can hire this guy from India or Guatemala that works for like 45 cents an hour?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It's the same thing with why they ship jobs overseas. You think they ship job overseas because it's cheaper? No, there's a huge investment doing that at first. It's cheaper
Yeah.
because they get to pay some Chinese kid to make Nike shoes for
Yeah.
like 3 cents a
Which they
day.
get like a penny a day, and it's
Yeah.
basically slavery.
Yeah,
And
it's
people are
basically
like, well,
slavery.
why do you that's the whole thing that I think we're starting to see, like the whole like flipperoo bullshit now, where it's like the Democrats have become more capitalistic somehow,
Yeah.
but also somehow maintaining an idea of socialism, though it's not socialism at all. And like you said, no one can define what socialism is or what fascism is anytime you ask him about it.
Yeah. They never can. Dude named Hussy Enjoyer in the back.
Hussy.
What's up?
Oh, it's me, Mindrend.
Oh god.
Hi.
Hello,
But it
hello,
hello.
guys.
We're gonna
Everybody's so scared.
we gonna
What
keep
did I do?
we gonna keep it YouTube friendly today?
Yes, I was usually the one that was doing that. 90%
true.
of the time, it was other people.
That's true. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What do you think about Bernie Sanders?
I think Bernie Sanders is a rather suspect individual. You know how he claims that he wants some kind of financial equity between individuals in the United States, and then accepts like fucking tens of thousands, fucking hundreds of thousands, probably from big pharma. He's like a
My
millionaire now.
fellow Americans, I come to you today to ask you for more money.
Yeah. Yeah, he does that with the grassroots shit, but he doesn't only do it
Yeah.
grassroots. He's establishment as well. So it's like a
Oh yeah.
he's hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Even back when he started to do this stuff back in the '60s, he was still part of the establishment. He came from a rich fucking family, for one, Like the Sanders are quite a well-off family. Two, it's kind of just like like I said earlier, it's like he grifts to whatever side is going to get him the more money. And he's a Smurf. What do you expect?
Is he a smart fella or is he a fart smeller? Okay, you decide, audience. You decide.
I think he's both.
I
I
think
think
he's
he is
both.
smart because he knows what to play the game at. But I think he have fought Smella because he doesn't actually believe in the stuff that he's talking about, and he has a bunch of these useful idiots who just
What,
like
not
blindly follow
not because of his huge nose?
him. So it's but then you have people like AOC who fucking don't even know how the hell she got in there. Um, and then like a bunch of other people. There was this video a couple of days ago. I think it was actually a couple days before his Mayday thing, where it's like these two women were like up on like the stage where they like allowed everybody to get up on stage, and they were like yelling, "You need to let us speak! You need to let us speak!" Um, but it just kind of goes to show that the irrational, low nobility of a lot of these people who claim to be socialists in America, not understanding the actual history and the point of socialism in reality. A lot of these American democratic socialists say that, well, I want to base ourselves off of Nordic socialism, not knowing that Nordic socialism, they actually tax their corporations less
Well,
than per se that we would want them to do. They have all these things. And one of the points I would like to make is that we can easily achieve the ideas that Bernie would essentially want if we just stop spending money on NATO. Like if we stop sending money to foreign countries every single day, billions upon trillions of dollars, if we stop being interventionist, we could easily have universal health care that would actually be really efficient. We would have better roads. We would have better school systems. The teachers would get paid more, better benefits. Because something I didn't notice, and I don't know if this is around America, teachers don't have bereavement.
They don't.
hmm.
No. So if like you have a relative that dies, you don't get days that are paid. They go take off.
Well, I think personally that the United States government needs to encroach on patent rights and needs to like unpatent a lot of things that have been patented, and then they can just like produce it at cost, even nationally, and then we wouldn't need all this shit, about like cutting costs like in other sectors. We could just like produce it for almost nothing instead of subsidizing the huge companies that sell it to us.
Well, that's true, but that's also including the fact that we're spending all this money on U.S. Like you look at the
Oh,
U.S. aid
USAID is
thing.
the smallest of minorities whenever it comes to international federal costs. Like, what's the
Yeah,
real
no, that's
what's the
that's
real
what I was
kicker?
going on into is that we're also paying for the entire NATO budget, military budget.
Yeah,
So, which is the
exactly. The NATO
reason.
military budget, huge. Okay,
Yeah.
like
So,
our
go ahead.
us hating Ukraine and Israel, huge, right?
Huge.
Huge. It's absolutely massive. But it's no, it's just like that's the reason why all these NATO countries have free healthcare. They have a lot of these benefits and stuff like that. Is because as Americans we foot the bill.
Yeah, but
But the
USAID
thing
is
is
already dead in
that
the water. That shit's probably not coming back for another 4 years.
yeah, it's yeah, but it's like that's. But if we realistically, say if we not realistically in a perfect idea, if we did retract all those payments that we stopped paying the NATO budgets, we easily could just afford to do almost all of the shit that these people say they want to do. We could, universal teacher payment benefits. People could honestly get paid more. And then also with the patent and idea, a lot of that stuff's, really beneficial, especially in the healthcare system. Uh, which, people kind of forget that back in 2020, Donald Trump froze the what's the EpiPen, the stuff you stick in your leg. I don't know what the chemical compound is called, but he froze that to where they couldn't charge you above a certain amount. But then, right when Joe Biden got into office, he completely retracted that. And I feel like that's what we're gonna see. Is that the way our democracy works? It's a fucking pendulum. It just knocks back and forth every single election, and nothing gets done. And that's the problem with our liberal democracy, is that just nothing gets done. It's party politics. A lot of this stuff is just blind idiots who just follow the leader.
Yeah.
By the way, the word you're looking for was epinephrine.
Yes, that's what I was trying to think.
Epinephrine.
Epinephrine.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. 2:47 p.m. for me right now.
It's also 2:47 for me as well.
It's gonna be a struggle sesh tonight. I got a 12-hour shift, and I woke up at like 10 a.m. today.
It is 2:48 p.m. for me. Actually, I'm a little different.
It's
No, it's
2:48 for me
it's
right
also
now, too.
2:48.
I know. I'm kidding.
I know. I just wanted to be autistic.
Don't tell me you're one of them fucking Yankees, are you?
I used to be.
Fucking Yankee. But no, it's like
I mean, there's really not much more to say about Bernie. I mean, what is he, like 90 years old now?
it's fucking like
Yeah.
80.
Yet another humanist who doesn't really support humanism behind closed doors. There's like a million of them. One might have thought that we would develop an archetype for that. Oh yeah, it's called a liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that liberalism isn't even considered a humanist ideology anymore. It's transhumanist. All of it is. Even the Republican Party.
I would consider both of them to still be contractually humanist. They still, the things that the platforms they still present, right, to the voter, is that they're going to give aid to those who need aid, right? AKA, they're trying to posit to the unaffiliated voter that it's in their moral interests to benefit this person or this person that they've never met in their lives. They'll never have anything to do with. Doesn't support their interests, but they vote for it anyways. 90% of the U.S. population is a bunch of dumbass humanists. I almost said hedonists. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, no, it's majority of the United States, well, majority of any population is going to just be a bunch of fucking idiots, which is why our democracy kind of fails in existing, is because when so many people completely base their ideology off of feelings and of that, who's more funny, who's more kind, who's like, the guy I want to go to church with, kind of stuff. It's fucking stupid. And so what ends up happening, it's like I remember back when 2020 election happened, I know people who were like gun ho on fucking Trump back in 2016. They're like, yeah, he's our guy, he's literally our guy. And then they voted for Joe Biden next time because he was Catholic, or he was like,
I hate to break it to you, Buster, but facts don't care about your feelings.
I hate Ben Shapiro. Should I do a Ben Shapiro stream? I should do a Ben Shapiro stream, shouldn't I?
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Didn't we already do a Ben Shapiro stream?
I think I'm going to do another Ben Shapiro stream.
Another Ben Shapiro stream?
I think I might do another Ben Shapiro stream, yeah.
Be careful, you might get sued by Loudwire.
Do they sue?
Yes, they do.
For what reason?
Just decimate. Let's be honest here. Are you surprised?
Okay, I'm not really that surprised, but
Yo, I just thought about it. Why don't you make like a podcast, call it like a Quiet Wire, and then just like impersonate Ben Shapiro the whole stream?
For the unsake of the hypothetical.
Hypothetically speaking, if I was, never mind.
Hypothetically, if If you
My
were considered
husband
a
is a
naughty
drummer.
girl, okay, then you would have had to done something incorrect, something that was counteractive to my interests. I'm going
For
to
the
have to
sake
punish you now
of the
sexually.
hypothetical, my wife is a man, and she's not a doctor.
And as this predicates upon you being my girl, you are my naughty girl, okay?
I hate Ben Shapiro, dude. I hate Ben Shapiro so much. Cannot stand Ben
No, it's
Shapiro.
no, yeah. Then apparently they like sue people for defamation. Um, no, it's like the thing is that it's just we have it's fucking boomers. It's always just back to the boomers. It really is,
They're gonna die soon.
and they're not gonna. No, they're not gonna
Hope
leave
so.
shit. They're gonna find a drug that makes them live for like another 50 years.
That'd be funny.
Well, I hope that they die before that happens.
And the thing is that they're not gonna leave you shit.
That's also true. My dad is trying to sell my house. That's why I'm hoping that he dies before he can.
What's up,
I'm
Nightish?
technically, because of my grandmother, I'm technically supposed to inherit 2 houses in Georgia. But knowing how my family is, I'm probably not going to get those 2 houses in Georgia.
Oh boy.
I ain't going to get shit. I'm over here living in this shitty ass fucking apartment in fucking Texas. Texas.
Yeah, you and me both, except I'm living in a house.
Boomers
I don't live in a
using
house.
their house to go play slots at the casino.
That's why I
Yeah.
said accept.
Well, my grandchildren, they're pretty fucking useless because they don't know how to pull themselves up out of bootstrap. I fucking remember back when the economy on that Monday, that the economy kind of went down.
Here we go. What's up, Random
Um,
Independent? How's it going, man? What do you think about Bernie Sanders?
How come when you see me, you never seem happy to see me, man?
Nah, because you like to split hairs and you're contrarian, but that's okay.
I'm not splitting hairs, man. You know that's crazy because I really rock with you, and it just doesn't seem like you really fuck with. Or can I cuss? My bad.
Yeah, you can cuss, bro.
Okay, cool. It doesn't seem like you really fuck with me. It's all good though. But
It's not
no,
that
I'm
I
just,
don't-
I just.
It's not that I don't fuck with you. Just the majority of like the semi debates we've had, you've just kind of just been a contrarian. But you know, I could be
No,
wrong.
I don't know
Nu-
you. That's
nuance-
my purse.
Nuance matters, man. That's all. But it's all good, man. It's all good. No, I just came to see what y'all was talking about. So
Talking about
not
Bernie
really.
Sanders. Talking about Bernie Sanders.
Oh man,
the
Bernie
boomers.
and the quote unquote progressive wing of the Democrats.
My new individual who has entered the stream. Do you play basketball?
Yeah, I do. Well,
Okay.
I haven't played. I used to. I haven't played in a long time.
Well, that brings me to my next point. That's my purse. I don't know you.
We heard you the first time, and it just
Yeah,
didn't
but I
hit.
still want to say it again.
But yeah, with the Bernie thing, I mean, I just feel like we're just rocking between 2 extremes now, and the more popular Bernie and AOC gets, it's just it's just gonna be bad. So
Yeah.
Are they really getting even any more popular? It's like I really don't know anybody who really actually supports them.
well, I guess I should say that Bernie is old as shit, and if he is co-signing AOC, that means a lot of his cult followers will then fall under AOC's wing, which will give her at least a decent amount of influence in the Democratic Party that she doesn't currently have, and that won't be good. So I mean, even if her supporters are only like 20% or 15 or 10% of the base, that's still a lot of power that she can wield.
Political power to AOC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, imagine giving it to Trump, but here we are. Now we get you got people giving it to Trump, you got people giving it to AOC. Which one's worse? I'm not sure because I don't think AOC is really too much different. I think if she was in power, she'd be doing very similar things, except obviously on the other side of the coin. So.
No, yeah, but it's
That's where we're stuck, huh?
One cares about the preservation of culture and identity. The other is Trump.
Shut up.
no, it's I feel like American politics are not only just really fucking stupid, because they're all literally quite similarly dabbing each other up back in the back rooms. But at the same, like I fucking my sister-in-law fucking posts this shit, And now they're trying to say that people who say that politicians are corrupt are actually stupid people, and that they don't. I can't even fucking remember how the fucking went. But it's essentially this woman was on, just like on her phone, and she's like, people who say that all politicians are corrupt just really don't understand, and they're kind of dumb and probably racist. So you're racist if you believe politicians are corrupt. So that's why you should vote for the Democrats. Fucking
I mean,
basically.
I wish that made them racist.
Yeah, but it's the whole shit with Bernie Sanders and then the whole wing of Democrats, just Democrats in general, are just fucking weird as shit. But then again, so are majority of fucking Republicans. It's either you get limp dick number 1 or limp wrist number 2. Kind of shit. It's we're Democrat men or women, but it's Democrat men. They kind of are always like the stereotypical ones. Very just I don't know if you understand the philosophy of thumos, but essentially they lack spirit and greater identity.
I realized why geopolitics is so fucking uninteresting, and that's because every country in the world, other than one, is just completely unfunny and stupid. Right? The only country that I actually genuinely support is North Korea.
North Korea, best Korea.
Yeah, honestly. Like, think about it. Like, none of these other countries are doing anything interesting or serious. Like, maybe Palestine-Israel situation. I think Israel's kind of funny. But, like, fucking, honestly, at this point, the United States, it's going downhill ethnically, and therefore I can't support it.
Yeah, well, it's like, for example, in the Bernie video, they had some guy, or excuse me for assuming that their gender, they, them, was holding up a Free Palestine flag, and I'm just really wondering, what does Palestine have to do with the American working class?
Well, let me check their ethnicity real quick to see if they represent the working class. Who are they?
Well, when there's a Spanish translator in there,
Spanish translating. Are they Spanish or are they Mexicano?
Hispanic.
Okay,
What
Mexicano,
the
yes.
fuck is going on?
I'm not breaking TOS, Pumpkin. I'm being safe.
No. Sharon, what are you doing on my stream? What's going on?
What's up? I heard a bat singing. I was like, I smell like bread.
Yeah, the
Oh,
majority,
yeah, boy.
the majority of
Yeah,
panel is
boy.
white here, so I would be careful. I don't control or condone what they say on this stream, but this is a very much freedom of speech panel. So this is the Coliseum, buddy. It's not the Coliseum stream, but these are the Coliseum players. So be careful. Be careful.
They say white bread tastes the best because of its sugar content.
What's going on with y'all? What y'all talking about?
We're talking about
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, we're talking about Bernie Sanders. He just did a Mayday. I went through the entire Mayday speech that he gave, which was about 22 minutes. We're kind of laughing at the fact that he owns like
You
5
agreed with
homes.
most of the things he said, or
Did I agree with most things he said? Hit or miss. I don't agree with the Social Security part. Okay, Sharon, let's do this. Let's run it. Yeah, you want to know why I don't agree with the Social Security part?
yes?
Because neither you or I are going to benefit from Social Security. We pay into it, right? We pay into it. But if the current
Oh shit, what's up?
if the current trends continue, right, I'm going to retire at like 85.
If you live that long.
If I live that long, right?
Well, yeah. If you start doing some walks and stuff, yeah, maybe.
Oh.
The
Maybe
average
if you get
male
taller.
doesn't live past 77. So
Wait, why on earth is the melaninated individual defending Social Security? I sure wonder why.
God damn. Okay, my bad. We gotta chill. Okay. Ah, damn.
You got
Well, it
there,
was a
bro.
question primarily. I'm just asking.
So are you saying Bernie Sanders said that he's gonna up the living age for to get Social Security?
No,
Like
he
I'm
said he
No,
confused
he's
wanted.
about.
going to expand it. He's
He said
going
he
to
wanted to
expand Social
expand it,
Security.
and he didn't go into detail about it, but he said he wanted to expand it.
So we don't understand what expand means.
We have no
No,
idea. He didn't say up the age, right? He just said
So
expand.
so why are we thinking of it in a negative way?
Because
because
the only like context I have for it is like within the modern day, right? And the modern day is completely negative context, right? So you'll have boomers, for instance, and I don't shy away from. I am a socialist. I don't ever shy away from that. But we have boomers, modern day, right, where everyone pays into their social security, right? But then they will also advocate that we should not get, let's say, free education, right, or a free education option, correct?
Mm.
So we are paying for them, but they are not willing to pay for the younger generation. So
But
social security is just like an extension of that boomer mindset, right? So when he says I want to expand social security, all I'm hearing is an old fuck just predicating that he wants old fucks to advocate and potentially vote for him. That's all I'm hearing. And if you actually looked at the, sorry, my bad. I know I said it wrong. If you actually look at the crowd when they panded the crowd, it was majority old people. Majority old people. There was like a few young people, but the majority of the crowd was just old boomers, essentially.
Well, that's because all the young kids is at work.
That's true. That's true. But still though, like when I hear expanding Social Security, I'm like, okay, well, boomers are gonna get more money and more power before they die. So
they should be taxed more.
Think about it like this. A lot of the modern generation are just a bunch of like dude weed little kids who like want to sit in their fucking house and live off of mom and dad.
You are the modern generation.
Right? Yeah, absolutely, I am. But that
Okay.
isn't to say
You're
that
kind of
that
talking
isn't
like
to
it
say
was.
that isn't to say that it isn't a stereotype that's proliferating, and especially within the Bernie camp, right?
And are you saying also are you not the stereotype?
No, I'm not the stereotype. I actually have a job. I actually go outside.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
I actually got a pretty damn good job myself.
Kind of the
It's really
stereotype.
pretty.
But maybe by expanding Social Security, he meant removing the tax cap.
Removing the tax cut that was just put on businesses, that one?
CAP. CAP.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that's understandable. We still do need infrastructure costs.
Well, the thing I think what Bumpkin was trying to say is that the way that Social Security is going is that it keeps raising up the age to retirement every year. And, well, for one, we don't do anything about it. No one gets angry. No one's get pissed off. And two, it's by the time people that are around our age, like I'm 23, the other guy said he was 25-ish.
yep.
By the time we get up to that age of retirement, it's probably going to be gone. Like Social Security is not going to exist anymore. And so paying into it now, and it already gets taxed out of our income anyways. We're not receiving anything of our own money. We're giving, but we're not receiving anything, and then like a lot of these Social Security benefits are getting put towards people who don't even work and who don't even do anything. And we're actual working class of America barely even receives a lot of their Social Security benefits.
I'm a very bold take.
maybe
I don't think anybody in here will at all will agree with me. I think that if you don't work and if you want to live off the government, then the government should make you sign a contract to get sterilized.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think most of us would agree with that, but I'm not super versed on Social Security, so maybe I'm wrong in what I'm gonna say, and you guys can correct me, or how your perspective on it. But what's wrong with Social Security just inherently being the age when you can receive Social Security? What's wrong with that being increased, whether it be year by year, every 5 years, or something like that? What's inherently wrong with that?
Because you have to work longer in order to even get to that point, and if it increases by, if I can't even retire by the time I'm 80 and the average male lifespan is 77, then I'm having a significant chance that all this money that I'm putting into this social 401k already, I'm not
Yeah.
even going to be able to use because of the fact that the retirement age keeps going up. And it's also,
Yeah.
you have to put more money into it, and that's the whole thing. You should be able to retire and still live a life. Essentially, you shouldn't retire and be halfway in the grave.
Well, that was
It's the genuine idea that they just want you to work to death.
Until you
There's
die.
no
Wait,
there's
are
no
you guys
end.
socialists or
I
is
mean,
it
Yeah.
I
just
am.
Bumpkin?
I mean, I am. But
I
it's a
am.
genuine idea that they want you to work to death when there should be at least, at bare minimum, an end post that you should be able to achieve.
So if the solvency is the worry here, then increasing the age that Social Security can get paid out will never increase past the average age of the life expectancy, or it would never increase past the life expectancy age because it just wouldn't make sense. You're not paying out to anybody if the life expectancy is 77 and you try to increase it to 80. If solvency worries are the concern, then wouldn't increasing the age assist with solvency concerns, considering people would not be able to receive Social Security until later on in life, for one, and two, they would also be, to Bumpkin's point, potentially working later in life, and which would mean that they're paying into Social Security even more before they receive those checks, which would help with solvency in the generations after them receiving Social Security.
I have a little bit of
And
practical
if life
wisdom.
expectancy increases, if
My
life
dad-
expect my bad, if life expect whatever the word I'm thank you, it's
Expectancy.
increasing, then the age that you get Social Security increasing is not necessarily wrong, because if life expectancy was like 70 and they were getting at 62 and it was 8 years away from the life expectancy age, then maybe if it's now 77, then maybe it should be 69, or if we're going to keep it by an 8-year gap or something like that. So I think that's a discussion for sure about where we would want Social Security to be received, where we want our elderly when we want them to retire, and how much maybe we want them to get. But before, when Social Security was created, we didn't have 401ks. And now we have 401ks and people investing. This younger generation, your generation after you, is going to have invest way more money compared to our parents and grandparents.
Well, if anyone's genuinely worried about not having money when they retire, there's a little bit of practical wisdom that most people do that are actually smart boomers, right? It would be called move to the Philippines with as much money as you stockpile for the previous, fucking
Good
5
God,
years.
no.
It's straight up optimal. You can move to like Eastern Europe. You can move to the Philippines.
You can
anywhere.
definitely move to some of these cheaper countries if you can even move to rural areas, and where it's way cheaper. But people don't do that, and then they complain about housing prices in big cities where their friends are also moving where they want to move.
Yeah, they can get fucked. They can be like
Rural areas are 100% cheaper. That's why there's
but if
cost of living
everyone-
adjustments.
If everyone moves to rural areas, then it will not be 100% cheaper.
Well, if everybody moved to rural, you wouldn't have everybody moving to rural areas, because the more people that moved out of the city, the cost of living in the city would also decrease, which means people would be more willing to stay in the city because it's not as expensive as it once was. And there's a huge amount of land in the U.S. that's not used.
yourself just by
Okay,
saying
we're
that,
only
because
talking
if everyone
about
moved to the rural areas, then the
Everybody
increase
moved to
in
the rural
living-
area. We were talking about boomers.
yeah. Nobody's talking about everybody moving to a rural setting. That's not what anybody said. I'm
But
saying
even
like
if it was
whatever
the
your
boom.
retirement age, and you don't have enough money to settle down on in the location in which you want to live, right? It's optimal to either move to the countryside or preferably even move to a different country where it's much cheaper. That way our country doesn't have to support you. Plus, you're also going to get the benefit of living in a country where Medicare is just going to be like fucking free. You can just like go to the hospital.
And bankrupt that country with
Yeah,
national
exactly.
healthcare. Are we in agreement? Are we? Because I don't know your name because I can't see your name, but me and dude in the top right with the troll thing are in agreement that different areas in the U.S. or even in a state have different costs of living. Are Bumpkin and the taco or whatever that is?
bread.
Are you guys?
in agreement about
bread.
that? Everybody already knew
How
that.
dare you assume my
I just want to make sure that we are in agreement, because it almost didn't sound like they took that for granted because I said rural areas are cheaper, and dude said no, they're not.
Dude, if anybody doesn't know that in this chat, then like you need to get sterilized. Okay.
That's okay. Obviously, I knew.
Brother, man, you
Are
need
we
to
in
take your
agreement
fucking meds.
that rural areas,
No.
generally speaking, are cheaper than big cities?
I mean, I'm in agreement with that because I
Okay.
legitimately did that. But that's
To a point.
besides the point.
Well, it's
So-
it's not
so
beside the
you're-
point. It's literally his point. Instead of moving to a different country, you could just move to a smaller city in your own
Yes,
state.
but that's the whole thing. That if everyone, all these groups of people, this large group of people moves out to this rural area, what does that become? It
Okay,
becomes
one.
a urban area.
Again, one,
And
nobody's
even
saying
if
that everybody should move there.
everyone-
Two, it's not only one area; it's multiple areas throughout the state.
Yes,
And three, there's a huge
that's
amount
what
of
I'm
land in this
trying to
country
say.
not used.
That's
I
what
think-
because majority of it's farmland for one. Two,
No,
a
it's
big
not.
fucking desert. A big fucking desert. It's
There's a
ranch land,
decent desert.
farmland. There's what?
You're correct about the desert. Is a pretty decent big desert, decent sized
Yeah,
desert.
but also a lot of our urban areas are owned by individuals who use them as ranches or farmland or as other different things. The thing is, even then, that's also still going with my point of that if ever this large group of people move to this urban areas, they're still going to become not urban, rural areas. They're going to become urban, and therefore the cost of living increases. And then what's going to happen? You're going to start going on a pendulum to where now the cities are cheaper. Oh well, let's move on to the cities. Well, the cities are too expensive. Let's move back to the rurals.
Welcome to what has happened in every that just happens, and that's it's not about fixing it. We're just talking about people easing the burden of their cost. And
Wait, I gotta ask something. It's super important. So earlier you were complaining that like boomers are really expensive, right? Like for the local economy, right? And not only for the local, but for the national economy. If they were to move to a different country, that deficit, that economic deficit, would actually go away. It wouldn't get worse. I don't see why you're thinking it would get worse. Seems kind of illogical.
Yeah, but we don't want our own population moving to different countries because that's a threat. Not only is that a threat to national security, it's also
old people.
Why the fuck do we care that they move
We need
to
to
a
value-
foreign country?
We need to value our young people, right? We don't need to be valuing these fucking dinosaurs that are leeching the lifeblood from our country.
Nigga, you need to take your fucking meds.
Real quick.
What do you mean?
Real quick. Shout out to Sharon for actually pulling up. I guess he bounced.
Yeah, I think he was getting phone calls a little bit ago. I think he got another one.
But you can see why I don't think that was a response whatsoever. You just like basically said, "Take your meds." You didn't actually say anything.
So, can you elaborate on the national security thing? If he's talking about 80-year-olds moving to a different country, can you elaborate on the national security issue that presents? Not that I agree with it, because I don't, but
because if we have all these different Americans that are moving outside of America, they're going to invest into foreign occupancies.
Mm-hmm.
And who fucking knows what boomer worked for this? They also have the opportunity to leech ideas into foreign countries that gives them an upper hand against our country. So that is in fact a what?
Here's the thing, right? I'm gonna give an argument here, okay? Since I've been kind of lackluster and just looking at stuff. Okay, so your solution.
Mine.
So yeah, you and mine's solution is.
I think ours are separate, but yeah.
To leave.
No.
Your chance at retirement in the country that you spent the majority of your life in and the culture that you adapted to is to leave said country. That's your chance to retirement.
No, that's what he's saying. I never said leave the country.
I'm saying if I was old,
instead of just simply saying, okay, here is the cap on the age of retirement. Let's just put it at what it currently is, 65, okay? This is the cap. You cannot go above this limit. 65 is the cap. You cannot go above this limit. You cannot raise the retirement age past this point. It's as simple as that. Then I'll pay into excess.
No, it's not. That's a terrible idea.
Why
How
is
is it
that
a terrible idea?
That's a
Literally,
terrible
how the
idea
fuck
because
is it a terrible thing?
life expectancy keeps
It
increasing.
has nothing to fucking do with life expectancy.
So if you
It has
yes, it
nothing
does.
to
What? All right.
fucking
So
do.
maybe I don't know what life
It's
expectancy is. Is
increasing
life
by
expectancy?
0.5 a
That's
fucking year.
that's
But
great.
it's not even increasing by
Okay,
0.5.
that's cool.
It is
But
literally
we're
a
not
very
talking again. You guys are
straightforward.
thinking
It
short
is the
term, and that
most
is the issue.
simplistic
You guys are
shit,
thinking
you
short term, and that's
fucking
the issue.
moron. You
So
fucking
maybe I
moron.
don't know what
It is
We're
the
not
most
thinking short
you
simplistic
asked.
thing.
All right, you
It is
presented
the
a
most
solution. I'm
simplistic
telling you
shit.
it's wrong, or how I think
How
it's
the
wrong.
fuck
He's
is it
just
wrong?
yapping over here
Who
and
the
asking
fuck
me a
gives a
question
shit
as he
about life
continues to yap. It doesn't really
expectancy?
make much
Okay,
sense.
okay.
It doesn't.
Is
Guys,
life
check your
expectancy
fucking turns.
is life expectancy not the average age that we can expect to pass away at?
What do you think current life expectancy is for
The
males?
fuck does that have to do with anything?
Okay, the current. I'm just making sure I have I'm just making sure what I think life expectancy is correct. Is that
Life
correct?
expectancy in the United States for males is 77
I didn't
years,
ask the
okay?
age. I'm asking you what life expectancy is because
That
maybe
is
I
life
don't. Maybe I'm
expectancy. That is
mistaken.
the life expectancy of the United States.
Okay,
This is
what
what
is
we're
life
talking
expectancy?
about.
You're just saying the year. I know what I understand that. What is it? Because
The
maybe I'm
fuck are
wrong.
you
But
asking?
based
you
off
fucking
of your
We're
moron?
asking
reaction,
you the
maybe I'm wrong.
definition of life expectancy.
Yeah, what is life? I
How
said it like 3
long
different
people
ways.
genuinely
How long do
live.
you
Okay, so that's what
averagely
I'm
live?
just making sure we're all on the same page because that's what I thought it was.
Are we
The
talking
average
mean,
age.
median? What? Like, what is the metric that we're
Average.
using?
That's just when we
Average.
can expect to pass away. So
That is
I
the
just want to make
average.
sure that we are correct on that. So
Yes.
if the life expectancy is, let's say, 77 for males
Yes.
and 78 or 79 for females,
82.
and it's 82 for females now.
Yes.
Oh, nice. If those are the ages, and you cap Social Security, it can't go any higher than 65. And life expectancy because a breakthrough comes through, let's say a medical breakthrough comes through in 5 years, where for whatever reason people are to live 10 years longer on average. I mean, Japan, other countries, their life expectancy is way higher. So really, there's not even a medical breakthrough that really needs to happen for us to increase our life expectancy by several years, not just 0.5 per year or whatever dude said earlier. So if you're capping it at 65 and life expectancy goes up by 10 years or 15 years or something like that, you're capping it at 65, and now there is literally no way to change it, which means eventually life expectancy is going to keep increasing, and eventually it's going to get to 90. And as it gets to 90, now you have a 25-year gap where you have to pay into Social Security to fund those people that have retired. Not only that, but as life expectancy gets stretches out more, that implies that people are healthier for longer. That implies they're probably more physically fit for longer, which means that the things that a 70-year-old is doing today, in 20 years, if life expectancy is at 90 or 95, a 70-year-old is maybe doing stuff that maybe a 60 or 50-year-old is doing. They're doing way more different. They're doing different things. So they might be more adventurous. They're going to be spending money in different ways. They're going to be like, actually, my income or the income that I need per month to satisfy my lifestyle at 70 is 20 grand more than what it was needed 30 years ago. So again, all these things, all these costs increase. And so taxes then also have to increase. And so you can't cap it at 65 because now you have a 25, 30-year window where people are no longer working, but they're getting money and they're not replenishing that money. And they didn't replenish it when they were younger either, when they were working.
Okay. Let
So-
me hit that point by point real fast. First point, life expectancy increasing. That's fine. Working for 65 years and living, and then retiring and living for an extra 20 years. That's fine. That's a good split. Also, would not have to raise taxes because we spend trillions and trillions of dollars into the military-industrial complex. Wouldn't have to do that. We could utilize those. We could utilize those
Per year?
funds.
You're talking about per year?
Yes. We could
Trillions and trillions of dollars per year.
Okay, not per year. Fuck.
Okay.
Oh my god. Do we spend a lot of money? Do we spend a ridiculous amount of money in the military?
No, we don't spend that much.
That's
Yes, we
insane!
fucking do. You are literally fucking coping right now.
No,
Literally,
that's
we
like our
pay.
biggest-
So hold the
that's our
fuck up.
biggest expense.
Shut the fuck up.
No, our
Shut the fuck up.
defense budget is not our biggest
the fuck
expense.
up.
Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security are all, or I guess Social
Are you
Security is second
fucking
amount expense.
idiotic?
The
Are you
Medicare and
fucking
Medicaid are
serious?
definitely.
Have you
And
looked at our
education, we spend more on
Have
education. We
you
spend more
looked
on
at our budget? Have you looked at the United States fucking budget? Almost a majority of that fucking shit is military. Because not only do we pay our own military budget, we pay foreign countries' military budgets.
Okay,
like
so
NATO,
what was the budget? What was the federal
send
budget and what was the
foreign-
federal
We
budget last
send
year?
foreign.
I don't want to hear
fucking
you yap
military.
about
We send-
what you think.
yourself.
What is the foreign
Kill
budget
yourself.
last year, or
Now,
what was the
jump
federal
off a
budget
bridge.
last year?
You piece of shit.
Okay,
God,
Yeah,
so
why are you getting so fucking angry? Just like engage in the conversation.
I am
so
engaged
what-
in the conversation.
he
Dumbass
told you
won't
to
let me
take
fucking talk.
told you to take your meds for some reason. I don't know if he was projecting or what, but the federal
Are you
budget.
black?
was like
I
$5 or $6 trillion.
I just pulled it up. The defense budget
Trillion.
was 12%. It was 12%
Yes,
of
thank
the
you.
entire
So
budget.
But
yeah, it's
the
not 80%. It's not the
foreign
majority. It's not a
spending,
crazy
the
amount. And
foreign spending that we spend on foreign countries and their military budgets, because we foot the bill for NATO, and that's the reason these NATO countries
What?
have free healthcare. We do. We pay for their military budgets.
You realize that Germany had national healthcare prior to NATO's existence, correct?
Yeah. Wonder why?
Okay.
Because we fucking bankrolled them.
Okay.
Foreign
Gotcha.
subsidies.
I didn't know the U.S. was subsidizing
Yes,
Germany
they
in the
have been for
1800s.
years.
But okay.
For fucking years. For
Okay.
decades.
All right.
Almost
So
an
obviously he
entire
doesn't really know what he's talking about, but it sounds good.
No, I
Or
think I know.
maybe
what
he
I'm
thought he
talking
heard Bernie
about when
Sanders
it's
say
proof
it.
right fucking there, but
I mean,
whatever.
you already said that we spend this crazy amount on the military, and then you're not even
We
giving out
do.
numbers. He brought up 12%. Now you're saying, oh well, you also have to count this other unknown number that I'm not
That's
going to
also
reference, but I'm going to
considered a part
say.
of our
But
military.
I'm going to
So
say
for
so.
one, for one, Bumpkin said ridiculous foreign spending also on that, so that's including in that.
Okay, so now we're doing
not
all
even
foreign. Now
including-
we're doing humanitarian aid as a military budget item. Okay, this is cool. Since we're
Because
not
now I'm
actually
not
dealing
even
with
fucking-
the
no, you're
proper
taking words out of
definitions
my
of
fucking
things,
mouth.
then
You
that's
stupid
why I
idiot.
understand. I can
You
understand
stupid
now
fucking
why
idiot.
you think the way you think,
fucking
because you
dumb.
just grab
You are
random shit
fucking
and you
dumb.
throw it under the military
You are
budget.
fucking
If
dumb.
I decided to throw
Because
education
you
under the
don't even
military
listen.
budget, then I would
You are
also
in
say
a
it's the majority.
fantasy fucking
Makes
world.
sense.
By the
You
way,
piece of shit.
by the way, guys, the other category would be where foreign aid would be categorized.
And it's
in
like
this
1 or
right?
2, 5, maybe
In this-
5%.
No, it's 16%. It's still
16.
big.
Okay, so 28. So
Right.
28. But that's not military.
Right,
That's not
that's
military.
not
So he
all
just
of our-
agreed.
That is
He just agreed.
including into
He
the
just
foreign
agreed.
spending.
He just agreed
That
that
is-
humanitarian aid is not what he's counting under the
Okay,
military
order,
budget. So until we break
No,
out,
I
break
never
down,
said that.
Order,
I never.
order,
What the
order.
fuck are you talking about?
you did just say that you
fucking
just said that
Order in the
you're not.
court. Order in the court.
You're a fucking
It
idiot.
is not okay. We're gonna stop getting so heated. This is not.
I'm not heated. He's heated.
Yeah, this is not.
Can you wait?
this
Can
is
you
not
can
the
you bring up
policy.
that? Can you cite the education and healthcare expenses now?
Yeah, I'll just the education expenses are 19%. The healthcare
Okay.
expenses are 23%.
Okay. And what's that other big item? Because there's another big item that I can't remember right now. I think there's one that's.
Pensions and Social Security is
There you go.
17%.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, like I had said, military spending is not the crazy big expenditure that people try to make it out to be.
Is it
Yeah,
really,
I was confused.
Is it really that crazy that you would put foreign aid and humanitarian under the military spending? Because it's not that crazy, because we do a lot of humanitarian aid and foreign spending, and that directly coincides with our military. You know that.
Well, it's
I mean, nothing's crazy if you reach hard enough.
That's not reaching at all.
It's not reaching at all, you
It is.
fucking idiot.
Humanitarian aid, fighting the AIDS epidemic in Africa is nowhere near the same as bombing Libya.
Holy shit, guys,
Which we
wait,
both
let me see.
we put money into foreign countries. We would holy fucking shit.
Oh
We
my
spend
God.
trillions of fucking dollars on foreign aid,
Okay, we're
and that's
gonna
not
let-
even
we're
just
gonna
saying.
we're gonna
I'm
let
not saying
Mindra-
African AIDS. We're also talking about giving money out to these random ass countries. During the COVID build, we gave fucking Sudan almost $1 billion fucking dollars.
Wow, $1 billion. Okay,
Just a
what were you
random
saying?
ass fucking country.
Trophies? I don't know.
Why
which
are
one
we
it is.
sending money to these foreign things? And just to tie it all back into Social Security, we could easily decrease the military and the humanitarian aid budget to benefit the American working class to be able to retire. And the whole thing about the whole life expectancy, the solvency, is that why would I want to only have 10 years of my expected life to be able to live off of the money that I fucking think? The whole utopianist idea that we're going to live up to, every person's going to live up to 100 is crazy, for one, because it's not true. Other countries have these higher expectations because they are other people. Certain people have genetical dispositions to live longer. But the thing is that we're also, per capita, we are a larger country than a lot of these people. So we're going to have an average that is going to be significantly lower. But even then, if say I have 20, if say the average life expectancy for you United States males goes from 77 to 87, so 10 more years. So I have from the time that I'm 65 to the time that I'm 87, which is about over 20-ish years. That's fine. I should be able to do that. I shouldn't have to work my entire expected life just to have 10, 5, probably even lesser years. And even if I make it to that, to be able to even work, right? So
Wait, I wanna
why
take
do
the-
we want to increase the United States Social Security cap. I mean, the age.
Wait,
Because
before you answer that, I want to say something, right? Under the other category, you have agriculture, energy, general government services, and international affairs. That's what you're referring to as in the other category. It was not in the defense category. And
okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
that's all I wanted to say. And you got to keep in mind the international affairs is probably going to be dwarfed by the agriculture, the energy section of other, right? So it's probably international affairs may make up like 2 to 3% of government spending.
Yeah. But what was the 16 or whatever you said earlier?
That was other.
That was just others bucket.
Yeah, that was.
And then
the
international
things that-
affairs is under the others.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So like I was saying, 1, 2, maybe 5% is spent internationally outside of our military for foreign aid and all that stuff.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
But we're still spending that we
See,
could
and
easily not.
this is the issue, is that you guys have issues with you just have you're morally against something happening or ethically against something happening or whatever.
I'm against
you're going to be
America
against, and so you're,
being
and so
the
you're
fucking
against it,
world police.
and so you're just going to be
why
against
should
it, and then
my
you're going
tax
to use it as
dollars-
an excuse that
why
something
should
else
my
should
tax
happen. And then when
dollars
someone pushes
be
back
put
on it, you go
towards
into this
something
spiel
stuff fucking
about
stupid?
like, well, I just don't agree with it, so it shouldn't happen. Well, just stick on that point and stop using it as an excuse that something else should happen because you just don't agree with it at all.
Yeah, I don't
The
agree with it
fuck
either.
are
but
you
there's no
even
reason for you to-
saying?
Yeah, there's no reason for you to like act like you know the numbers if you don't know the fucking numbers, dude.
The fuck are you even saying?
He's saying you don't know the numbers.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you
I just had to
dumbass.
teach you the numbers.
Other people understand what I'm saying.
Fuck
So.
are you saying?
I understood what he was saying. He's saying
What the
that-
fuck? Like, are you trying to say I'm some fucking like liberal who's like, yeah, free Palestine? No,
No, he's
What?
saying
no,
that
I'm
you're,
saying
he's
that
saying you have
why
moral
should,
qualms.
as a American, should we pay for
Let
foreign
him get his
fucking
stuff off.
countries? Foreign
take his
fucking
meds.
countries when we can easily use that. It could be minuscule compared to other shit that we pay for in the United States, but we can still take away because that's the point of efficiency. Is that hey, this is a bill we really don't need. Let's take that away. With the amount of money that we could easily just take away from that, we could incredibly efficiently, pay towards a better healthcare system, a better education system. We can pay for a hell of a lot of better other shit. And the thing is, even going into saying that, oh, well, Social Security is this large number, look at all the people who are illegal. Look at all the people who don't even work. Look at all the
people
who
that are
don't
illegal
even
that are working here don't get Social Security, but they
Yes,
pay
they
into
fuck.
Social
Okay,
Security.
so you just made another one of those fucky wuckies. I just basically steelmanned that 2 to 3% of the government budget went to international affairs. Healthcare makes up 23% of the budget, so it's going to maybe get a tenth better. It's going to get a tenth more efficient. Even if you
Okay.
allocate all of those funds there, right? it's
So
not
aren't
going
you
to-
like so?
And it's kind of weird because
this is why I don't understand where the
he
fuck
brought
we're
up the
going.
liberal thing as if he was not that I was saying that he's a liberal because I never said it or implied it, but he brought it up as if it would be an insult to call him a liberal or to imply that he was. But then he thinks throwing more money at a problem solves the problem, which sounds very
That's
much
not what
like
I'm saying at
which
all.
sounds very
That's
much
literally not what I'm fucking
Yeah,
saying.
that's
at all.
what
You're a
kind of
dumbass.
system.
You're so
the-
fucking stupid.
kind of sounded like it because you
modern-
said we could take the money from there and put it in healthcare and we'd have better and we'd just be better. So
We
it sounded
could
like you
have
just
a
said throw
more
more money at it.
efficient healthcare system. Well, okay,
Which
yeah,
has
if we
nothing.
really
Which
wanna go-
if something is
we
being more
really-
efficient, you don't need to throw more
Listen,
money to do
fucking
that. You
fucking
understand
cat,
that, correct?
fucking
You
idiot.
don't have to throw more money at a problem for it to become
That's
more.
not what I'm saying.
For the
That is
solution to
not
be
what I'm
more efficient.
fucking saying. If you listen to me for one
And
fucking
this goes
second,
back to my
instead of
original
going
point,
off
which everybody else
into some
understood, which is
fucking
you just have a
tangent.
moral or ethical
Holy
issue
fucking
with
shit.
it.
Okay. All right. This is how we're gonna run this now. Since you guys can't not overtalk each other, it's not good for the audience to just hear two people screaming at each other. Okay. All right. Okay. Panthusa, you're gonna finish your point in a timely manner. Random Independent, you're gonna finish your point in a timely manner. We're not gonna overtalk each other. Please, for the love of God.
And give me some air to breathe here. I got a couple of things I wanted to point out.
Yeah, I would love to let him talk. I don't think it's not like because you guys can't stop over talking each other. There's one person that keeps on over talking the other two when they bring something up. We've let him talk. We let him go on his spiel about how we should take money from so and so and put it more into healthcare, put it more in this. We'll get more out of it and blah blah blah. We let him do that and we didn't interrupt him. So then he stopped talking Dude brought up his point. He talked over him while he was bringing up his point. I brought up my point. He talks over him while I'm bringing up my point. So I'm not bitching about it. It's not that big of a deal to me. But let's just be clear that there's two people that can have a civil conversation and one person that seems incapable of it.
I don't think he's incapable, right? He is also on his phone, right? Am I correct, Panfusa?
Yes.
So that could play into that as well. Okay, so right, I'm going.
I wanted to hear what Trophy said.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna let Mindred go. Mindred, his name's Mindred.
Okay.
We're gonna let Mindred roll. Okay, Mindred.
The first thing I wanted to say is the only reason our Medicare expenses have ballooned up to fucking 23% of the federal budget and climbing is because we allow certain technologies that exist in the United States to be patented that should not have been patented, that should have been produced competitively in the market, or could have even been nationally produced at cost, right? Either way, we're not doing that. What we're doing is we're paying money to corporations to sell these products to medical institutions instead of allowing these monopolies to no longer exist, or rather forcing them to no longer exist. Right? That's the enemy that both of you should be attacking right now. It's not like, oh, international aid is crippling our economy. No, it fucking isn't. That's fucking retarded. Okay, like we already know what the problem is.
That's a good point.
No, I agree with. I'm not versed enough to say, argue one point or another on the pharmaceutical point. I do just off rip think that there needs reform regardless. I don't know about whether patents should be shorter or what the situation should be, but I do agree that is an issue. But there's other things as well. Exercise, diet, mainly exercise though. That people just don't do. I think that we don't have. I mean, I don't want to get on a tangent about walkable cities, but I'm a very big proponent of walkable cities, and I think that we don't have enough of them. I think we built our cities and towns and whatnot around cars, which causes people to drive more. They choose to drive rather than walk somewhere because they can't walk somewhere. And if we can do stuff like that will also bring down healthcare costs, because a lot of these issues that people have come from or stem from a lack of exercise. 85. I think a lot of times I'll look something up. I can't cite what exact numbers and what it was referring to, but there'll be something along the lines of, I think, like 85% of chronic conditions were preventable through exercise and or diet. So there's a lot of things that we can do that we should do a national push culturally, and maybe even infrastructure pushes to help with that. And I'm all for it.
By the way, these products that I was talking about that are patented in monopoly markets, they make up probably over 15% of the cost, according to Google, as of I don't know what year. Let me check. Yeah, they make up 15% of the cost of everything that you would pay at a hospital, right? And just think about that. 15% of that equation, you could just like chop off the top. A lot of the rest of it comes down to labor and the specialization of that labor, right? And that can be subsidized by the government in place of this problem that we're having right now in order to make that cheaper as well, right? So I think that patents are the primary enemy whenever it comes to healthcare, and I think that can be substantiated pretty safely.
Can you drop me those sources in Discord, please?
Yeah, I will do that right now.
I'm not even like trying to source check you. I'm genuinely interested in that. The patents argument's the first time I'm actually hearing this, and if that's like truly true, then I'm gonna use that argument to this point forward for sure.
I would just caution around the patents thing. Patents incentivize or at least give the private side a reason to R&D. And if they can't get a patent, and I know you said you can do public-private or even nationally funded or whatever, that's another discussion. I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not really pro-government doing a lot of things. So that's just a discussion to be had. But just caution on the patent side, you take away patents or you limit them to a significant amount, then you're not going to get the funding. The private side is not going to bring the funding in to go after some of these drugs, like the different vaccines or different treatments for different things, different pills, Ozempic.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. Thank you. And I understand that you're not a fan of the government doing stuff in here, but you are. I will inform you are definitely a minority in that opinion.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Like
I mean, I got that from based off of at least what you up top were saying, and then I think due to the right of me is kind of less so, but still
Oh
relatively
no,
pro.
I'm more authoritarian than anybody else in the chat.
Okay. Well, yeah. So that was the other issue is that I was going to bring up is a lot of things can be a solution for the government can do things and it's a solution for one thing, but not a solution for or it causes issues in another way, or whether it be short term, medium, or long term. And so that's another thing. But that's again separate discussion. I don't mean to block what's his name
I
out
want your
of the
guys'
combo.
opinion though. People that have been watching the stream for a while. Do you guys like the Streamlabs setup? I like the Streamlabs setup. I don't know.
I think I think it'd be better if it displayed our names.
It's StreamYards. Yeah, I can change that real fast.
Yeah, I want to have Hussy Enjoyer as my profile on here.
There we go.
Oh, let's fucking go. Right. Well,
I think.
yeah. Now that I won the debate, what are we talking about?
Yeah, no, I think it's about time for me to. I think it's about time for me to end the stream. Not gonna lie.
Well, we just started, Bumpkin.
I have 2 hours into the stream. I know, but I gotta take a shower and I gotta.
Brother's a
ready for
working
work.
man. You gotta
You
let him do
have
his
to take
job.
a shower.
I do. No, we
You
shower
dirty
every
motherfucker.
day. We
You
Oh, my
dirty
bad.
motherfucker.
My bad.
Are you
No, my
Indian?
bad.
Every day. That's what we
My
do.
bad.
No,
I
sorry.
think the Indians taught the Europeans how to
Just
hygiene.
wait
But
another
fuck?
hour, Bumpkin. You can shower in an hour.
that's what I'm saying. You can
Oh,
take a
yes.
10-minute shower,
Torn-
take a BMT
torn
shower,
something.
man.
Honest.
You got
Mr.
5 minutes in and
Blackbeard.
out.
Fine,
Mr. Blackbeard.
fine.
Yo, let's go.
And by the way, there ain't no way you can convince me that the Indians taught the Europeans how to shower when they currently don't shower. There ain't no way you can fucking convince me of that.
Well, I don't know too many native. Wait, we're talking about native. Oh shit, you were saying Indians
no.
as in India. My bad.
No such thing as a Native American. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
I am a Native American. My tribe is Anglo-Saxon. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Base. Fucking base. Hello, base. Become more Anglo Supreme, Norman Supreme.
Yeah, I'm a Native African. I'm actually Dutch.
Yeah, I'm a native Vietnamese person. I'm actually French, you know.
So y'all don't rock with Bernie, and y'all, like that shit.
Fuck no.
No, fuck
confused.
Bernie. Bernie's a fucking.
Well, not
Bernie.
you.
He's a
They said they
fucking
were socialist. So.
Yeah, I'm a
We
socialist.
are socialist in the whatever is not Bernie. Socialist.
Okay, so
Also-
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, okay? Bernie
Say I'm a little bit of a
Sanders-
national one too.
Yeah. Bernie Sanders has went back on several of his points throughout the years. Bernie Sanders also currently owns like 5 houses in Vermont. Mansions, we should point out. Mansions. And he constantly shills for the Democratic Party, even though the Democratic Party consecutively throughout history has always backstabbed him. Like, I just genuinely think that he's not, for one, armchair socialist. For two, doesn't want to stand on any of his actual principles because then he would not have that much wealth, and that he's also a hypocrite. Also, some
And then
stuff,
he's also ethnically really inconvenient.
yeah, sure.
Oh what?
I said
He's
ethnically
part of a certain
inconvenient.
tribe of people
Yeah.
that I know to cause mischief. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bit of an issue. Bit of an issue if I do say so myself.
yeah. He also advocates that we should just like make more trade unions. That doesn't actually solve the problem or even bring about his sort of like socialist worldview.
So do you guys believe that nobody should have access? That you pretty much communism is almost what it sounds like. Maybe you guys believe more so than necessarily
Fuck no.
socialism.
I will
well, there's
fucking
that.
hang a goddamn socialist on camera live.
I thought you just said you're a socialist.
I mean,
I
a
think I'm a
communist.
communist.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ, man!
Yeah.
Holy fuck!
So I guess I'm a little confused because
Oh,
it
jeez.
almost sounded like you guys are against excess or profit, just generally like profit should just go,
No,
like the
that's not
state
true.
should delegate
Bro.
where profit goes.
No, I genuinely
That's
believe
actually
I
true.
genuinely believe in a mixed economy. There just should be certain aspects that should be ran by the state, like healthcare should absolutely 100% be ran by the governmental apparatus. Certain key resources.
Public private healthcare like Singapore or whatever country has that type of shit, or are you
Yeah,
saying
but
that there
Singapore
shouldn't
is
even
like
be a private?
20,000
No, no,
people.
no, no. I get that. I'm just asking, like, are you only pro national healthcare, like the state run, or would you also be pro a state run version plus private
Plus private.
healthcare? Okay,
A two-tier healthcare
two
system.
tier. Okay.
Oh,
Because
by the way,
my issue with the government running it, and I was way more left, like 10 years ago or whatever. I was more pro that, but then just historically speaking, the government can't really be trusted, and as we're kind of seeing right now with like food stamps, whether you agree or disagree with what they're doing with them, I think Louisiana just banned food stamps being used on certain foods
Junk
or
food.
products or whatever.
Junk food.
Essentially junk food, like snacks.
Texas
and
did it as well. Texas is
Yeah.
thinking about doing it as well.
So, and like we can agree or disagree on whether that should happen or whatever. I think most people would say, okay, yeah, like it makes sense. Like you shouldn't be using my taxpayer dollars, or whatever, to spend it on junk food. But it goes into my point that the government will eventually get to the point where it is controlling what you can and cannot do with these the stamps or healthcare, for example. They're like, I think England started saying, oh, if you smoke cigarettes, we're not going to cover you for certain cancer or something like that. I can't remember. If you're obese, we're not going to cover you for this or whatever. So
Yeah,
I think
fair.
that's where.
Yeah,
That's
It's
awesome.
actually kind of based. Stop smoking. Stop being
Okay.
fucking
Yeah,
fat.
which I'm again. I also agree, but I'm just saying that that's where you fall if it's only a nationally ran healthcare system where the state decides your every move or what you can eat and drink. All this.
I may
If I get caught
interject
with
on
my
that
pants
point
down for
real
smoking-
quick.
If I
Is
get caught
that
with my pants down for smoking fucking cigarettes, like I deserve it. At that point, like let me die of lung cancer.
fucking smoking a whole pack a day of Winston Reds and drinking 40s? Fucking
Actually,
yeah,
right
no,
now,
I
I'm
wouldn't pay for
smoking
your
something
shit,
even
dude.
worse. I'm smoking something
But
even worse. One of the Patriots, bro.
Jesus Christ. But no, it's like just going into that kind of point is that the current system of government, no, we would not want the current system of government controlling that because it is not a government meant for the people, by the people in reality. It is controlled by foreign occupators and foreign occupiers and corporations that lobby against the people that have founded this country. And so I would say, and I'm assuming that I would assume that everybody believes me that no, in the current situation, we would not want the current government to run any public welfare program because they don't benefit the public, and if anything, they go against the public that literally created it.
So you said that they go against the founding. I really like really a big proponent of the U.S. And I really like early American history, specifically around the founding right now. Can you elaborate? Are you saying that currently they're going against what the founding era would have envisioned?
No, they're going against the founding stock of the people who created this country. They don't care about natural citizens. They don't. Sorry if I sound a little bit nasally, it's because I'm sick right now.
No problem.
They don't care about natural citizens. They only care about the occupying forces that inhabit our country, foreigners,
Can you
and they
define
only care
foreigners?
about profits.
Or is it like a racist thing?
Oh, I'm a racist.
Yeah, well, I got that from the purse thing. But
it's
when you're saying foreigners, are you being racist, or are you saying foreigners as in illegal immigrants?
people who are not naturally American.
So born here?
It does. I like definition of born matters because
Yeah,
if
well,
they're
I'm
just
asking you
born
to
here,
define it.
if they're born here under anchor babies, no, you're not American. I don't believe in
You
Julia.
don't believe in
I
birthright.
don't
You don't believe in the
believe
14th Amendment, birthright citizenship clause,
No, I don't. I disagree with it entirely. I
or
don't
at least
believe
the
in
application of it.
Julius Solis. I don't believe in Julius Solis. I believe in Julius
Okay.
Caesar.
Okay,
which
even
is
though
like-
the founding fathers were soulless.
Yes, and I believe that if they looked at our country now, they would disagree with that.
But
Because
if we're gonna,
when you kind of bring in the fact that our founding fathers didn't consider a majority of people even people, I think you have to kind of rework that kind of situation out there.
This whole
I
talking
don't agree with
point
that.
doesn't matter at all. They're all fucking dead anyways. Like, what doesn't matter is how they actually were. What matters is how neoliberalism has pivoted their interpretations.
Well, what matters is how they thought. It doesn't matter. So that's what we're talking about. We have to talk about them to know what they thought. And so when you're saying stuff like
Naturalization Act of 1798 declares that look that up, naturalization
Yeah,
gap.
that
Essentially,
was
what I'm
one.
trying to
That was
say
one thing.
is that I don't believe you can come here and get born here by people who like jump a border fence and then
Okay, so
immediately
that's
be
all right. So that's your
declared.
definition. Okay, so that's what you mean by foreigners. So at the very
Yes,
least,
you have to at least
so
be
illegal
here a couple
immigrants,
generations. You have to
and
be
then
here at least.
babies
No, legal
born
immigration
to
too. Legal
yeah,
immigration
legal
too.
immigrants and babies born to illegal immigrants.
So who in
Legal
here
and
is
illegal
Oh,
immigrants. I
legal
don't
and
believe in it.
illegal.
Yeah, I don't
wait, who
believe
in
in
here is a
immigration.
strict constitutionalist? Who's a constitutionalist in here?
I
Well,
don't
strict.
care about the
I'm
Constitution.
not. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't understand how you can complain about someone going against the founding, as you say that you don't care about
The founding
the
stock is
Constitution.
what I meant. The founding stock, the people who makes this country majority.
The people voted on the Constitution, but we can get past that. I wouldn't say I'm not a strict constitutionalist by any means. But I'm definitely very pro Constitution.
I will
Well-
wipe my ass with the Constitution if it means the benefit of my people.
Well, the
Okay, so now you
Constitution-
started jumping into that racism thing, but go ahead, Hussey.
I don't
Well,
care. I am.
Well, the Constitution, in and of itself, how it operates is rather archaic, and it needs redefinitions all the time, or else it creates a lot of lapses in judgment at all levels of federal, right? So, like, really, it's the judicial branch who it's determining the actual interpretation of the Constitution to begin with, and they can twist that basically any way that they can possibly justify to a group of judges, right? That have specific intentions that are along party lines, right? And that's why, say in places like California, for instance, they're allowed to ban 30-round mags. That's why, say, for instance, in the federal government, you have this constant back and forth over whether or not the butt fuckers can get married. It all comes down to the Constitution doesn't really mean anything anymore because everything has changed. All of our definitions, all of our norms and our expectations, gone, replaced. So we should have a replaced document as well. We should be allowing it to have flux with the modern world, right? Because then we'll have a more realistic, a more efficient, a more democratic even sentiment. As much as I hate democracy in this equation, anyways. So, I mean, I don't know why anybody could even argue against this. I don't know why the Constitution is still alive.
There's nothing in the Constitution about the judicial branch being the sole authority on what's constitutional and what's not constitutional.
It just so happens to be that they're the ones that legislate whether or not that needs to be the case or not, right? They're the ones that actually take into account the precedent.
I know what they do, but you said, your point was getting rid of the Constitution, and you brought that up as an example of why the Constitution needs to get rid of. But if we can go back to the founding, when do you think that the Constitution meant what it said, or whatever along the lines of what you're saying?
I'll answer that in just a moment. I got like one very short question that I want to ask you. What is a judge's job?
Depends on which. Are you talking federal?
Yeah, let's just say a federal judge, sure.
Okay, federal judge. If they're below the Supreme Court, it's to uphold Supreme Court precedent. If the Supreme Court hasn't really ruled on it, then it is to base. I mean, it depends on the judge and their judicial philosophy.
Right.
I would say I'm really big on history, so I would say the interpretation needs to have a pretty big foundation in history and whatnot.
We are agreeing with each other right now. They determine
in a way, yeah.
Whether it's from the Constitution or whether it's from the Supreme Court, the federal judges determine precedent in cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So because that's the case, right, that precedent is going to be interpreted only by the judicial branch. The legislative branch does not have a say in how the Constitution is interpreted. That's the judicial.
That's not in the Constitution. So the reason I brought that up was if you have an issue with that, then you can just add an amendment to the Constitution which says all three branches, or some other process it comes about that determines constitutionality of acts or executive orders or something along those lines. Judicial review was just something that Chief Justice Marshall. I mean, it developed over time, but Chief Justice Marshall put a stamp on it, and it's just that's been precedent. But there's nothing preventing in the Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution or otherwise preventing an amendment to be made that specifically states that constitutionality of matters will be shared amongst the three branches in a more
But
third party way or something.
But even if that was a precedent that was set, that would create a clusterfuck within our own governmental system.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
what you
would be
mean
true.
by if that was the precedent set, it would
So,
create a clusterfuck.
so you think if all three branches could determine what is constitutional or not, right?
That was the original argument before Marbury versus Madison, that all three branches have a say in the constitution of matters. No one branch has the so.
So imagine how bad that would drag down the political process.
Well, yeah, that's why you wouldn't have like a whole all 435 representatives, 100 senators, and the president and all 9 judges or however many judges are at the time debate it. You would have a process that they would eventually I guess Congress would probably come through with an act that determines 3 people become representatives of each branch, and they vote, because the judicial branch has something similar. I can't remember what it's called, but essentially on the state level, or at least in some states, they determine constitutionality of state stuff by a panel of 3 judges. And so for something to be constitutional or unconstitutional, I think it has to have either be unanimous or 2-3 or something. I can't remember. Something about 3 panel judges. I'm not very super familiar, so I might be mixing stuff up right now. But to take that template, something like it or some other template can be used where you have representatives of each branch being the ones that debate, and then you have a set, okay, it's going to be 3-3 or 2/3 of a majority if there's more, and so on and so forth, and that determines the constitutionality of something.
Well, there needs to be a veto system of specific parts within the Constitution. I think that's what would actually make sense.
A veto system
and the ability to create, right? So I think right. So the legislative branch already has control. Okay, let me give a couple of examples. The legislative branch already has the ability to create new amendments to the Constitution, right? And in collaboration with the executive branch, less so the judicial. I believe that they can rule against it at some point in the process. But point being, right, the ability to anneal specific parts of the Constitution, I believe that
there is that process already.
Yeah, I believe that rests solely with the judicial branch. Am I wrong?
No, yeah. I mean, sorry, yeah, you are wrong.
Okay, where does that operate?
There's amendment process, and so if you want something out of the Constitution, or something not to be held in the Constitution, or us to not follow something that's already in the Constitution, you create another amendment. That's how Prohibition got revoked. It wasn't through the judicial branch. It was through the amendment process, which our founders already put into the Constitution. That's the great thing about the Constitution, is that it is amendable. It is not. It's malleable. It's not, oh, this is it and this is the only thing it will ever be. That's the great thing about it.
So it would be.
We just haven't done it.
To remove like black voting rights, for instance, that's something that we could do.
Through the amendment process, I mean, no, because I would argue no, because again, when you're defining constitutionality and whether something can be in the Constitution, I would say that the history matters, and black people voted on the Constitution. Before the Constitution, there was plenty of free black men that voted, that had voting rights and stuff like that. And technically speaking, the Constitution is supposed to provide it's just enshrining rights that already exist.
Well,
and
there's no such thing as rights, but yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that's a philosophy that some people have, but just natural and fundamental rights is what that was the point of the Constitution. At least the Bill of Rights. I shouldn't say the Constitution, but the Bill of Rights and the amendments afterwards. What'd you say?
So, what are we even talking about now? The whole conversation kind of derailed.
Oh, so yeah, you had sorry. Yeah, we were just talking about that type of stuff because you had said like nowadays the corporations or foreigners or some other entity go against our founding fathers.
I didn't say the founding fathers. I said our founding people.
I didn't say you said the founding. Okay, the founding people, which I consider everybody that was around that time to be a founding father, not just the ones with their names on the signature. But I'm definitely using it. Not what most people would use it as. So the people of the founding era, they're going against the people of the founding era. But then you also said fuck the Constitution, and then I brought up the founding fathers, the ones that actually signed the document, and the voters believing in something, and you were like, who cares what they believed in, because I don't agree with it. So it just sounded like you were criticizing some people about going against the founding era founders or the people in that era, but then you also do it, so it's kind of confusing to me. And then we started kind of going into a rabbit hole about the Constitution.
So for one, when I said the founding people, the founding stock is what I meant.
You're saying words, and I'm not racist, and I don't huddle in racist spaces or race ambiguous spaces or whatever you guys call them. So you're saying words that I'm not familiar with, and so when you say stock, stock and stuff like that, you have to either define it, or I'm just going to assume you mean the founding people, like the people during that era. And if you're being a subgroup of those people, then you have to say that.
Here, I'll steelman his definition here. A stock
Thank you, translator.
is a racial demographic from a specific region.
Okay, gotcha. So you mean white Europeans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it just easier to say that?
It mainly means like wasps.
Who?
White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Okay.
But just, they had a definition of what is a white person, and essentially they go against white people who founded America and basically built it from what it was a wild land into what it is, unfortunately, now. But it's the thing is what I was trying to say is that we have people who, even if you fully went with the strict support of the Constitution, the only way you can actually enforce it is by the people, but our people alone will not enforce it upon our own government. And so we have allowed ourselves to be occupied by foreign occupiers and conglomerates that, like BlackRock, Vanguard, fucking all these different other things that are all owned by one fucking group of people too. And so you get into that.
I got that reference. How's it
going, buddy?
I have a hypothesis, a crazy theory. I think the founding fathers were actually neuroqueer Marxists.
Nice.
What?
No, I thought about that for a while, man.
They were Freemasons. All of them were Freemasons, and I can't remember. Was it Adams or Jeffersons that wanted the Federal Reserve to be created?
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Whichever
that's
one
who.
of them.
Well, I don't know about the Federal Reserve, but Hamilton was the one that argued for the National Bank.
Yeah. He was backed
the Federal
up
Reserve
by
wasn't
the fucking
created
Rothschild.
until way later.
No, he didn't advocate for a Federal Reserve as we would interpret it today. He advocated for a national bank that was controlled by the state.
Yeah.
It was much different. It was much different. The problem with the Federal Reserve is not the fact that it's a national bank. The problem with the Federal Reserve that it is a private entity that controls how we print our money. That's
it's not a private entity.
Yes, it is.
It is a private entity.
It's not. It doesn't, and that person has no power. The Federal Reserve is ran by the Board of Governors, which is government employees.
Either way, FDR is really gay, and the Federal Reserve empowers smaller banks to practice usury upon citizenry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's no, it's like essentially the way that everything is going in our country. My fucking head hurts really bad.
I like the way things are going.
I don't like it.
So I guess my thing is like, what don't you like? Like, where do you think? Where do you like? All right, so I'll give my biggest things, and you can kind of say like, no, those aren't even on my fucking, anywhere near the top tier problems that I think this country faces. I would say the debt is a huge problem. I'd put that in probably my tier one, or really our spending habits and whatnot. I would put anti-nuclear. I'm putting that up there. Nuclear power.
Like
anti-nuclear power. No. Like energy.
That you're against it, or that our government?
No. Like that society. I mean, it doesn't have to be the government as a entity, but just society in general. Like we're either pushing this or not pushing it. So I feel like society is not comfortable with nuclear energy, so it's pretty anti-nuclear. It's getting better, but obviously like we're not building what we should build, in my opinion. What was the first thing? Oh, the debt. We spend too much, way too much, and that's become especially in the past 20 years or so. The division, the partisan. Actually, partisan is probably my number one issue. So that I'll put that in like tier one. Everything else will be below it. So partisan.
Right, real fast. We're rolling back to the Federal Reserve. Here we go. The Federal Reserve Bank are not part of are not a part of the federal government, but they exist because of an act of Congress. Their purpose is to serve the public, so the Fed is the Fed private or public, blah, blah, blah. The answer is both. While the Board of Governors is an
Yeah.
independent government agency, the Federal Reserve banks are set up like private corporations. Member banks hold stock in the Federal Reserve banks and earn dividends.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and those stocks not be sold or traded, and those private entities have no control. But
Holding this stock does not carry with it the control and financial interest given to holders of common stocks in for-profit organizations. The stock may not be sold or pledged as collateral for loans. Member banks also elect 6 of the 9 members of each reserve bank's board of directors. So therefore, right, it was enacted by Congress, but it operates in 2 out of 3 apparatuses that it controls as a private entity.
no, so what you read at the end there was the reserve banks board of governors is different than the board of governors of the Fed. The board of governors of the Fed, all 9 members, I think it is, are the government entity. The 2/3 that get voted on by the private entities and are the regional or whatever board of governors is completely separate. But the government entity board of governors is what controls the Fed. That's who determines the interest rates, all that stuff. Government. The other ones, not government or voted, or 2/3 of the board of governors of those regions are not government. Or
Yeah,
they
the
could be
Federal
government.
Reserve's interest rates are already like really low. Like the portions of the banking infrastructure that actually set the interest rates on the lower tiers of banks and on the citizenry, those are the middle manager banks. Those are the Chase, Wells Fargo types, right? And then you get the smaller banks, right? They set exorbitant interest rates to pay for the chain of interest rates that came before it, all the way down from the Federal Reserve. And then the consumer winds up paying all of it. That's how it goes.
So more in depth than I know. All I know is the basics of basically what Bumpkin read and maybe like one level or some other things about it. So I would have to look it up. But the rates are lower. They're not super low. It's not like they're near 0% right now. I think it's 5 or whatever percent. The exorbitant rates, I'm not sure what you're referring to because the rates fluctuate, and that's more of a risk thing. So credit cards are always going to have high interest rates because they're chargeable in bankruptcy.
I will explain.
But car loans, for example, when interest rates from the Fed were super low, car loan interest rates were also super low. Mortgage rates will also get super low when the Fed lowers interest rates. So the exorbitant interest rates that are supposedly passed along are not. I don't know what you're referring to when you say that.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to mention. The branch of bank, even within the same corporation, pays interest on loans that it takes from the larger bank or the larger head of the corporate bank, right? And that larger head of the corporate bank takes loans from the Federal Reserve. Okay, so it's like a 3-chain system, right down to the consumer or the corporation that's getting the loan, right? And so that in that system, yes, the Federal Reserve does still charge enough of an interest rate for it to be pretty apparent, but the majority of interest isn't charged by the Federal Reserve. The majority of the interest is charged by the local bank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We're going to go for like another minute on this topic, then we're doing final statements because I'm leaving.
You're whack, Pumpkin, man. I'll give you $5 to quit your job right now.
$5. Give him $5. That can get you a whole.
Well, I make 20. I make about $25, $26 an hour, so you have to go a little bit more than that. My cash app
is $7.
You're making $5 more than me an hour, Bumpkin. Holy shit, I'm broke.
I'm making about 4 more than I am.
Yeah, but I need your money, by the way.
My money, but I can send you a heart.
Bumpkin, I need your money. Put up a poll, Bumpkin. I need your money.
Oh, it doesn't do anything.
No. Set up a poll.
Oh, you're not monetized, so I can't do the super chat shit.
Yeah,
okay.
The Cash App is in the Cash App.
Yeah, but if I Cash App, then my name pops up, so I don't Cash App.
Damn. You know you can change
sorry.
that, right?
No, I don't. And I'm just like once I realized I can just super chat and it's the same shit. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do that. So
that's crazy, bro.
yeah. I'm old, man.
How old are you?
31.
Ah, shit. Basically a boomer. Okay.
Yeah, basically y'all over here talking about my people. It's talking about they're ruining the earth and all this, and I was like, whoa.
No, they are though. I'm 25.
No, I don't rock with boomers either.
We're not that much different
Yeah.
in age, bro. You're like 6 years older than me.
I'm fucking 22.
When I was in middle school, you were in high school.
Yeah.
I want to set up like the Hunger Games, except
Yeah, sort of.
I want to set up the Hunger Games, except instead of young, youthful, like young bucks, they should all be like old, like geriatrics.
That'd be so funny.
Where am I gonna go? I don't know. You fucking millennials and your avocado toast.
I'll show you how we did it in I'm sorry.
My hip.
Did y'all hear about those people? I think they were Japanese or whatever. So back in World War II, they were on the island and they thought the war was still going, and they were on the island for like 50 years or 40 years or whatever it was. That's crazy. Imagine, man,
they're strong people. They kept going.
That's insane.
All
your family
there might
gone.
be some people in Argentina that think the same. I'm just joking. Anyways,
Yeah, no, that's actually a good one.
Hey, don't talk about my great uncle like that.
Shut up. All right. We're gonna go final statements. Panfusa, you're first.
Can I get a number 5 with extra dip? Can I also get 2 large fries? And how about I'll get a large milkshake, vanilla, and that'll be all, please.
That's awesome. Thank you, Panfusa, for coming up. All right, Mindred, you're next.
Kill Argonians, behead Argonians, roundhouse kick Argonians into the concrete, slam dunk an Argonian baby into the trash can, crucify filthy Argonians, defecate into Argonians' food, launch Argonians into the sun.
Okay. Random independent.
What's up, man?
Next, bro. Any final statements?
No, I appreciate you having me, man. I hope I didn't derail or anything. Nothing crazy. Everybody, it's Friday. What's up, my bad?
Yeah, you're good, man. You didn't derail.
Oh, okay, cool. It's Friday. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. It's finally fucking warm, so I'm gonna be outside and getting some sun and all that good stuff. So y'all be safe and appreciate you having me again.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you everyone for coming up. Here's how we're gonna roll this. I'm leaving the StreamYard. Boom, bada beam. No, I'll leave it in the back if you guys want to talk, but it's fine. Roll it over to StreamYard, Streamlabs over here. Here's what we're gonna do. Boom, bada beam. Just chatting. There we go. There will be a stream sometime next week, and it will be a Coliseum stream. Okay, it will be a Coliseum stream. So that's where I don't debate and I moderate, and all you fucks compete for $20. Unless I get some cash apps, then it will be more than that amount of money. Please show up to those streams. The Coliseum streams are the big streams. That's where we go for hours and hours and hours. We have many different topics that I go through. It's a blood sports stream, so there's yelling, there's all of that. They're shitting on each other. It's really fun. It's a fun time. Show up to that. And anyways, I now have to go to fucking work. All right, I now have to go to fucking work and be a wagey. So have fun, everyone. Deuces. Play a little bit of outro music here. Also, share the fucking stream, you retards. Get me monetized. I need to be monetized so I can get money. I need money!